Yo. We're back. Sorry about that. My internet went down. My internet went down. But let's watch some Kill Tony. Jesus Christ. Big up the person that's got this uploaded, by the way. You're a fucking legend. Let's watch some Kill Tony. Big up the person that's got this uploaded. Because this looks fun, bruh. This looks fun.
This over 11 years. All I do is give and give and give to you ungrateful fucks. Casey Rocket, how was your travel? Did you have a good seat on the airplane? How does a guy like
pack? They give you a bottle of dust. So it's actually pretty cool. It was me, it was Heath in the bear costume, and we shared a bottle of dust, and we body boxed like the plane ride from hell, like Brock Lesnar. So it was pretty fun.
I fucking love it, Casey. I love your energy. I love your fucking style, your swagger, everything. You've done it yet again. We absolutely love you. Way to get the show started. Is there anything else that you want to... Are you taking suggestions from the audience?
Could you sing a Doors song? Would you sing a Doors song for us?
Doors song? Okay. Play it again. Keep it going.
The best damn band in the land on the ones and twos.
Riders on the storm. Into this house we're born. Into this world we're thrown. Like Hector Alamone, like Al Capone, riders on the storm. Casey Rocket!
What a legend.
Like that, the
wow,
look
at the crowd.
Thank
you guys, appreciate it.
Look at the crowd. Wow. Holy shit, look at the crowd. Look at the crowd.
There he goes. The Rocket Man himself. And like that, the show has begun. In our first bucket pull, we had to pre-pull and wrangle him from Section G, row 20, seat 7, and now he's on the stage representing the audience.
Ooh!
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
It is indeed the lovely Heidi, ladies and gentlemen.
Annie Lederman is out here, bro.
Oh,
Annie Lederman.
My God.
Annie Lederman looking fucking scrumptious.
Look at all the furious liberal women in the audience right now.
Jesus Christ.
Bunch of chicks with multicolored hair and angry faces out there right now. All right, everybody, your first bucket pull, ladies and gentlemen, goes by the name of Sean McAbree. We're going to meet them all together, 60 seconds uninterrupted. Sean McCobb.
Post Malone is a good boyfriend or husband. He didn't look up once. He kept his eyes on that phone. He did not look up once at that bad bitch.
So I think there's a direct correlation between girls that own cats and have a stinky vagina. It's because, they never clean their box as often as they should, obviously.
Oh, he's so nervous, bless him.
I was actually tattooing this stripper's asshole, and she got a pentagram around it, and that shit was wafting at me. And I don't know if you've ever walked by a dumpster and been like, there's definitely something dead inside there. But that was what I smelled. And then to top it off, she queefed in my face. That was pretty rude. But yeah, so it didn't stop me from dating her for a few months, though. You got to get in where you fit in, But yeah, that wasn't the first time, or a couple other times I tattooed assholes. One was a spider crawling out, and the other girl got a rose around. Thank you.
Sean McCobb. How do
He
you
was
say
nervous,
that?
man.
McCobb. Post Malone was right.
Fuck yeah, what's up, Post? What's up, Tim?
can't believe Post Malone reads better than I do. You're just full of surprises.
Thank you for correcting him.
Absolutely incredible. Post, you look like you've tattooed a few assholes in your day. This seems like you're kind of comedian here. Is all of your how many times have you done stand-up?
This is my first time.
First time ever. There you go.
Wow.
Ever.
What a legend.
Makes their comedy debut at the LA Forum.
What a fucking legend.
It's fucking crazy.
A guy that tattoos women with smelly pussies.
He's at the anti-fucking Brendan Schaub.
So Sean, is that all the material that you prepared?
Yeah, basically.
Is stand-up something that you've always wanted to do?
Yeah, it's something since I've been watching this show for the last couple of years, yeah.
And you get tattoos?
I've signed up 4 other times.
In Austin?
Yep.
And you
Wow.
get tattoos for a living?
I do, for 18 years, yeah.
Okay.
And you're doing comedy because Avenged Sevenfold didn't work out?
It's not the first time I've heard that one, yeah. Basically, thanks,
If
Post.
that's not the first time you heard that, you should change something about yourself.
True.
So, Sean, I mean, you must have seen a lot in these years of tattooing. What else are you into? What else do you have going on in your life? Like, what other hobbies and things do you have?
Well, shit, dude. I make comic books. I paint. I do live art at raves. I've been tattooing forever. Yeah.
Wow. How long have you been
Makes
on
sense.
fentanyl?
I mean, never tried it that I know of. I'm sure it's probably getting slipped in there a few times.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you just tattoo assholes, or you'll do any area of the body?
I mean, why? You want one, Tim?
I want Amy Schumer on my asshole.
Let's do it. It won't take much work.
You said you did comic books too. I'd imagine a whole entire tome out of asshole skin with just beautiful drawing.
Oh, thank you.
Hell yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, that's what he needs. More bad tattoos.
It's just pictures of assholes with.
Oh, it's gone. He got taken down. It was good while it lasted. Thank you, brother. It was good while it lasted, man. It was good while it lasted. Or is it me? Or did I get taken down? I think he got taken down, right? Yeah, it was good while it lasted. It was good while it lasted. Let's move back to what we were doing before then. It was good while it lasted, but he did well. Thank you for doing that, my friend. Thank you for doing that. You tried. Big up A-Leaks, as you can see there. Big up this channel. Try and subscribe to them. They did try, but, in the end, the ban hammer came down. Netflix said, no, you're not taking our stuff for free. You're not taking our stuff for free. Unfortunately, it's down. It's gone. It's fucking gone. Damn, man, I was enjoying that. I was enjoying that. But yeah, unfortunately, it's gone. Unfortunately, it's gone. Cool. Let's move on. Let's do some other bits and bobs. Let's do what we did before. So we were doing Chris D'Elia before, wasn't we? We were doing Chris D'Elia, weren't we? We were doing Chris D'Elia. 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 So let's do Chris D'Elia. Can you do stuff like this? Yeah, you can. You can do it on Kick, but it's fucking $40-something, man. I ain't paying that. And allegedly it's gonna be out on Monday or something. It's gonna be out this week. Someone said so. I'll just wait for it to restream. I'll just wait for it to be available on YouTube later. I'm not spending $40 on that, man. Fuck that shit. But yeah, if it was cheaper, then I would. But it's like 30+ booking fee. It's like, what? A booking fee for a live stream? Like, how does that make any sense? Anyway, let's continue. Chris D'Elia video that we were watching before. Let's just finish this TMZ interview with Chris D'Elia, and then we can crack on with some other stuff as well.
But, there's so many guys that will do it. It doesn't matter. People love roasts.
Yeah, no, it was really good. I think we forgot how good they are,
Yeah.
Last question. You do Tom Brady, and it went so well.
Yeah.
I gotta know, how do you follow that? It's really difficult, right? You can't just go all right, this guy.
You gotta,
How do you follow that?
You gotta get LeBron.
Ooh,
you gotta get LeBron.
Yeah.
LeBron will never do it.
No. Or
But
Jordan.
I wouldn't have thought Tom Brady would have done it. Jordan would never do it.
Jordan would never do it. That's what I'm saying. Most of the GOATs of anything,
yeah,
they ain't gonna do that.
I'm shocked Tom Brady did that, honestly.
Yeah. But how do you follow? LeBron's funny though. LeBron. That's an interesting one.
You'd have to get like you could if
someone
that would
do
when Jesus comes back, they should get Jesus. Nothing off limits with a Jesus roast.
I love that. Yeah. Hey, we love you, man. Good, Take care.
No, we don't love you. We don't love you. But he was really nervous. So you could tell he was really nervous. He didn't want that guy to ask him anything about diddling kids. He was very, 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 very nervous. And like I said, it's got to be sad though, isn't it? Like to be out of, I guess it's nice that he's leaving. That's a nice thing. He's leaving LA for the weekend, so you don't get to see all the Netflix is a joke stuff, because I checked their Instagram and they have plastered content and billboards and signage and little fun things and whatever all over the place, literally all over the LA, or what a part of LA is advertisements for Netflix is a joke. So you can't escape this Netflix is a joke festival at all. So if you're a comedian and you're not booked on there, it must feel soul destroying. If you're a comedian that's on there and you're not booked, it must feel fucking soul destroying. So what could we do? What can we do? What can we do? What can we do? It is what it is. That's one of the consequences of diddling in the podcasting age. You don't get cancelled because you got a podcast, you got your own fan base, but you have to go through this hell where when an industry event happens, you're not involved. And you know you're not involved because of the allegations. Because if he didn't have allegations against his name, Chris D'Elia would definitely be there. He's a Netflix guy, isn't it? He was on You. He's had the specials on there. So that's part of the, that's part of the consequences of diddling. You have your career still because you got a podcast, but you're gonna have to suck up having to watch all your friends do their thing, while you're like, not doing your thing, which is kind of brutal. Sorry, because I bet you all these openers are there. I bet you all Chris D'Elia's openers are there. I bet you everybody he takes on the road is there, but he's not. So, sorry, hay fever there. What can you do? Big up the stream chat. Big up everybody in there as well. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for joining me. This is a little quick one, by the way. Nothing too long. We're just gonna go through some stuff quickly. We were gonna do the whole Kill Tony thing, but the stream got taken down. Oh shit! I need to buy some tablets. Apologies for that. Bloody hell! Hay fever season is kicked in for sure. Anyway, let's continue. This is called How It Started, How It's Going. You got to find the kids subreddit for this as well. Oh god. Fucking hell. Sorry. I'm sneezing all over the place. Anyway, this is called How It Started, How It's Going. Let's play this as well. Bloody hell. Apologies for this.
On the typical Asian athletic injury with the carpal tunnel.
It is a carpal tunnel. Come on, bro.
Bro, that's the Asian ACL, they call it.
Yeah,
when somebody gets carpal tunnel from typing on the computer too much.
Come on, bro.
I thought you were raising like a really strong bird. Like one of your parakeets is getting big.
Yeah, it's that bad?
It's pretty bad.
Hey, if this is your guys' way of asking for a raise, it ain't working, man.
Yeah, Tiger Thick, definitely the best.
By the way, so you can hear me now. With that clip, did you guys notice something with that clip? I don't think I've seen Chin laugh like that. Even when Theo was there, it was funner for Chin and the people at the back. Look at how Chin is smiling, ear to ear. He is so happy. Theo made that whole place glow. When he left, it must have been such a big difference on King and the Sting. It must have been such a noticeable difference when he left. Like, they were having a blast with Theo there. And then Theo decided to go sayonara. And it was all fucking over. You know what I mean? How sad is that? Damn, son.
tunnel from typing on a computer too
Come
much.
on, bro.
I thought you were raising like a really strong bird. Like one of your parakeets is getting big.
Yeah, it's that bad?
It's pretty bad.
Hey, if this is your guys' way of asking for a raise, it ain't working, man. Yeah, Tiger Thick, definitely the best out of the ones up there. I signed with a huge distributor, so that's incoming this year. What is poppin', fam? It is Monday morning, October 2nd. It is 9 a.m. in this brisk, I guess Calabasas morning. That's right. I forgot where I was at for a second. Cool.
Forgot where I was at for a second.
That's cool. That's great. Grand. Wonderful. What is up, thickies, thicketeers? Three thicker rats.
Picking your eye gunk out on camera like that is really nice, isn't it? Right? Picking your eye gunk out on camera like that is really lovely. Sprinkle that on my porridge, please, sir.
What is up, thickies?
Yeah,
is up,
sprinkle that.
thickies?
Sprinkle
Is up.
that.
What is
Sprinkle
up,
that.
What is up, thickies? What is up, What is up, thickies? Thicketeers. Three thicker rats. Thickos. What is happening, man? It is Monday morning, May 9th. I don't look exhausted. I look like a real exhausted trash can today. It's the name of the new tour. 2022 trash.
Big up Uche, brother. Brother. Oh, legend. Big up Uche in the chat. What's good? What's good? Big up the rest of everybody else in the comments. Appreciate it. Oh, big up that Iman, man. That Iman, wherever he is, big up him, man. Big up that Iman. Blessings to that Iman. What a legendary clip.
Panda tour out shoot special. Can't do your same material anymore. So that the rebranding of the tours let you know it's a whole new vibe. They're coming in freaking thick. Brendan needs a handler. Do I? Do I? Or does your boy need a handler? These guys need a handler. Mark Zuckerberg? I need a handler. They need a handler. I need a handler.
It's still honestly like there's not a maybe I need to do it. Maybe I need to be the one to actually do it. Maybe it's me. I need to be the one to do it because I'm the one with the most knowledge out here, right? I'm the one was a fucking fan of like I've got weird credits in it. I've got weird things to be proud of. I was actually a T-Fat-K fan in the beginning. I think I've got posts on my original Reddit account. I've got an original Reddit account where I could probably find posts of myself defending them. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I think I could find posts of myself on the T-Fat-K subreddit early on saying, oh, you guys are being too harsh, man. They're actually really fun. If you just watch the show, if you just give the show a chance, if you watch it from the beginning, if you ignore when Brendan bullies Brian, if you ignore when Brian is annoying and keeps talking about men's bodies, it's actually quite fun. There's an account I can find with my defense on this. So I need to do a proper comprehensive documentary on Brendan, not the UFC days, because I don't really know much about that, but just from the podcast era. I need to do one, a proper one, and I swear to God I could do it. If I'd spend time really writing it down and figuring out what clips to use and shit and going right back to the archive and doing the hard work and digging through all that content online and really finding some stuff, I could do a proper one where we just, because to me, I find it fascinating because like, I'm not immature in that I understand that a lot of people in life make it not because of their talents or anything, but because they know the right people and it's good timing, right? It's an element of luck involved. But I'm fascinated with people who have luck on their side, timing on their side, and they fuck it up. That's what I'm interested in. I'm not interested in people getting opportunities and being undeserving because whatever. The whole world is full of undeserving people. Some people don't even deserve to be alive. I mean, diddlers and like rapists and stuff, they don't deserve to be alive on the earth, but they are. So whatever. I'm fascinated with people who get given everything. They get given everything you could imagine, every possible advantage, and they still fuck it up. I'm fascinated by, and Brendan's the best example of it in modern times, because everything else he failed at, he gets given this golden ticket to podcast early, which I think I said before, I think it's like the first mover's advantage or something, right? Because that's also a thing that people don't really realize. Like a lot of these podcasts, I think some people mentioned in my stream chat said, oh, T-Fat was never good. And I can kind of understand what these guys mean, because what you guys are saying is that T-Fat was never good. They just started at the right time. And I remember, I think it's Tim Dillon or somebody said on a podcast recently that when podcasts first started, and I didn't really remember this, but when it first started, the only podcasts you could listen to were like self-help entrepreneur type stuff or comedy podcasts. And then a bit after that came the whole like human optimization field, right? The whole like biohacking thing. But there was only really like 3 or 2 categories outside of politics. So these guys had like the first mover's advantage of getting into a scene or an industry that was still bubbling. Cool. Then that obviously parlays into their comedy. Cool. Whatever it may be. I'm just fascinated, and I want to depict and try to summarize Brendan's journey from the stand-up, from that era of like leaving UFC, from the UFC. Maybe I'll start it from like the Reebok deal, because the Reebok deal was what got him into comedy and podcasting, right? The Reebok deal happens. They take away all the sponsorships. They take away all the ability for fighters to make their own money, basically, and they basically become like 0-hour contract workers and stuff, right? Freelancers in a way. So that kind of spurs him on to quit and then to do podcasts, takes podcasting seriously, and then that takes him to go do stand-up. I might have to do a documentary in full depicting that whole time, because I find it fascinating that he was given a golden ticket. He got, Brian Callen, a 20-year plus stand-up veteran, passed at the Comedy Store, loads of credits, and Joe Rogan, a well-established podcaster, comedian, loads of credits. He had those 2 guys, 2 heavyweights in the industry in their own right, for better or worse, 2 heavyweights by his side, right? And he still fucked it. Like, how is that possible? He lived in LA at the right time, right? You're living in LA during the Comedy Store peak, the best. Oh, remember all the comedians? The Comedy Store's the best. Have you noticed, by the way, who talks about the Comedy Store anymore? Nobody, right? The Comedy Store's the best it's ever been. The best it's ever been. The best it's ever been. Cool. In LA at the time as well. Knowing Joe Rogan, friends with Brian Callen, go on the Joe Rogan Experience all the time. LA, because you have the best guests, right? The best catchment area for all the guests who are coming to Hollywood and LA to make their dreams happen. And you still fuck it. I'm gonna have to do that. That might have to be a long-term project. I'll try and do one of those YouTube documentaries. My editing skills aren't that great, but I'll try and put something together and see if it works, because that needs to be told, that story of like someone being given everything and fucking it up. Like, how do you do that? How? Well, you know what? Agostino's gonna find out. Agostino's gonna find out, motherfucker. I'm gonna find out. Trust me. Okay, cool. Let's continue here. Let me just quickly do this on my phone. Make sure everything's fine. Yeah, cool. Let's move on. But yeah, I'ma do it. Yeah, modern day history. You know how we're saying here. We're fucking. I'll make one of those civilization documentaries, right? You check that channel, Civilization. That's what my Brendan Schaub documentary will be like. It'll be like that civilization channel. It'll be fucking crazy. Actually, let me change the title of this so people don't get confused and I don't honey dick them. Let me change the title of the stream, because I'm not doing the Kill Tony thing because it's not happening. So it's Elder Abuse Part 3. Bear with me a second, yeah, because I don't want to honey dick anybody, because I hate when that happens to me. I hate when I go on the stream and it says, oh, it's one thing and it's another thing. You get me? Let's continue. So we did that. Actually, did it work? Did I save it? Yeah, cool. Elder Abuse Part 3. It's changed now, right? Has it changed? Yeah, it should change by the time people come with it. Anyway, moving on. We did that. We did this. Oh yeah, look at this. Have you guys seen this clip? It features Matt and Shane talking about Chappelle Lacey. This is pretty interesting. Again, Brendan Schaub's opener getting absolute praise from 2 of the most popular guys and the guys that are killing it right now in comedy, right? So let's play this in Matt and Shane. Let's see what they have to say about Chappelle Lacey.
There was the one comic when we walked in. He's like a
Chappelle.
Is his name Chappelle?
His name's Chappelle
Black
Lacey.
dude?
Black dude, yeah.
Dude, he has a board in his fucking Jeep.
He's one of the nicest.
He's the man.
He's so
dude.
cool.
He's absolutely.
Dude, he was a
fucking
male
man.
cheerleader for
What?
15 years. He's like a freak cheerleader.
obviously bass,
Yeah.
holding up the babes.
And but he can do flips and shit. He's awesome.
Whoa, he can do all that
he's
stuff?
Huge, yeah.
Shit, damn, that's
He's
crazy.
jacked,
So
yeah.
he was like a gymnast.
Yeah.
That's a giant
Like
gymnast.
super competitive male cheerleading.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm curious now at this point. I'm curious, right? I don't think it's possible because I think being accused of rape or grape, as we say now in YouTube world, is just too much. But I'm curious. Is there ever a possibility if Bryan Callen left Brendan? He would never do it because Bryan Callen's an ultimate, pussy and a cut guy and definitely somebody that can't do things on his own, right? If you look back at Bryan's history, everything has been done in collaboration with somebody. He doesn't really follow through or stay consistent on his own projects, really, to any certain extent. But could there be a scenario where Bryan Callen quits the Fighter and the Kid, steps away from Brendan, does his own thing, and then gets welcomed back into Hollywood? Because so far, everyone that's left Brendan's orbit has gone to the fucking moon and beyond. Whether it's Theo, whether it's Malik B, whether it's flipping Cat, whether it's even BGL to a certain extent, everybody has gotten in better situations for themselves since they've detached themselves from Brendan or Thick Boy or the Fighter and the Kid. So could it be possible for Bryan Callen, who got accused of grape and so his whole career come down crashing in flames, could Bryan have a renaissance? Could he have a revival? Could he have a resurrection of his career if he decided to remove his lips from the Brendan Schaub teeth? Is that possible? Could he do that? I personally don't think so, because I think the grape allegations are the one that's flipping him over. Yeah, exactly. Big up NJ Ranger. I think that's the main thing. That's the main thing that's fucking him up, in it. It's the grape allegations. That's the main thing that's messing him up. Because if you would have got cancelled for being like a bad date, that's one thing, but the grape allegations are just too heavy from a former flipping girlfriend. What do you do there? What do you do there? So I don't know, but everyone else is thriving so hard compared to those dudes. But I also wonder if the Bryan Callen situation is less to do with the grape and more to do with the Crystalia thing, because he's too involved with those guys. Like, he's in this like cancelled comedian bubble. He's with Chris, he's with Brendan. It's just too many like negatives. He needs to surround himself with more positives or people that are looked at better in the industry. So maybe removing himself from Brendan is one thing, but then also removing himself from Crystalia, that also might help. Maybe. What's that injury? I mean, technically, he was alleged to being a bad date too, plus more. Yeah, you know what? You know what the Bryan Callen thing is as well? The situation that makes it harder for him. It's the clip of him with Whitney Cummings. Because, yes, they're friends, but in any other scenario, that's sexual harassment, isn't it? Like, what Whitney Cummings shared, that story where she got a lift from Bryan, or she asked him for a lift home. They get in a car, she sits down and puts her seatbelt on, and when she turns to look at Bryan, he's got his dick out. That's basically sexual harassment, isn't it? So those type of stories, even though they're friends and it was kind of done in a jerky, hey, suck my dick, don't suck my dick, ha 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 way, that kind of proves what time you're on. You know what I mean? That kind of proves what time you're on. You're on a bit of a weird one. Oh, sorry, it's the other way around. Sorry, no. Oh, sorry. It was Whitney Cummings taking Bryan back in the car. Okay, that makes it even worse. Bryan's asking Whitney Cummings for a lift home. So you're asking someone to give you a lift home. They get in a car, you sit down, they turn to look at you, and then you got your cock out. Yeah, get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. I don't know. I don't drive, but I'd imagine it's already annoying. I don't know about you guys. Maybe if you enjoy driving. I don't drive, but I'd imagine it's already annoying anyway when your friends ask you for lifts. So you have to go out of your way to drop them. But it's a friend, so you just do it anyway. So imagine you're doing this thing that's annoying, but you're doing it begrudgingly. And then the person that you're taking a lift, the person you're taking on a lift, just pulls out their fucking piece before you even started driving. It's not like you got into some sexual conversation while you were driving. Nah, just even before you start, they just set the pace. Here's my dick. Here's my dick. Here's my dick. Here's my dick. Like, whoa. Put that wrinkly fucking zucchini away, please, sir. Do you know what I mean? That zucchini that's been, you know, when you leave a zucchini in like your bag that you go to work, lunch, I mean, you have a little zucchini, you leave it in there. That's what you end up probably looking at, all shriveled, all veiny and shriveled. Fucking hell. Fucking hell, Brian Callen. Anyway, moving on from that one. Let's do this one. Bert Kreischer, let's not watch Bert Kreischer on thingy. Let's move this one. Let's move this one. Let's move that one. Oh, let's actually do the what's happening at the Comedy Store? Anything happening at the Comedy Store? What's happening so far? Let's see if any updates here regarding Netflix is a joke. What are they doing at the Comedy Store right now? They've got a show called Keys to the Store featuring who? Who's this? Who are these people? Who's that? Whitney, Tony Hinchcliffe. I don't know who the other people are though. Who are these people? Who's the Asian lady? Is that Ali Wong? Or is that somebody else? Who knows? Who cares? Oh, somebody here is back in the main room. Whitney Cummings, Tony Hinchcliffe. That's Margaret Cho. Sorry, that's not Ali Wong. Adam Ray, Audrey Stewart, and Scout Duddard. So yeah, everyone's back at the Comedy Store, isn't it? The Comedy Store is jumping. The Comedy Store is jumping. And no Brian, no Brendan, unfortunately. Set of the night, 30 comedians, 1 champion. Wow, everything is going off, but Brendan and Brian aren't there, unfortunately for them. They're not fucking there. Why couldn't Brendan and Brian be there, huh? What's fucking happening? Why can't my boys be there? Why can't my boys be there? Let my boys back. Let my boys back. Let's continue on with that one. We did that. Oh, have you seen this video? This is pretty wild, isn't it? So, what's his face? George Janko was on his podcast talking to, is it Mike from Logan Paul's pod? And this is kind of wild. This is kind of wild, man. Logan Paul sounds like a piece of shit. And another example of sometimes the worst, or not sometimes, oftentimes the worst people are the ones that make it, right? Why is it the worst people are the ones that fucking make it? Look at this, hear this clip of how George Janko felt he was treated by fucking Logan Paul. This is pretty wild. Listen to this.
The last straw for me was, Mike, I had to escape. I had to leave from my own fear. When Logan came after me for my religion, the show hit rock bottom and we weren't getting paid. I have a mortgage. I have my sister that works for me. I have Belle. I'm trying to get married. I had all these things. I had to start my own show because we're not making money on this show and I'm getting pushed out of this show.
Well, at the time you weren't making money.
I can show you my books. I was spending 10 G's a month being on the show.
Right.
What was he spending 10 G's on? Is that just his living costs? What does 10 G, how do you spend 10 G's and you're not making anything back the other way? Or is it because he's already financially stable anyway? That's a lot of money, like, honestly. You Americans, like, you make a lot and you spend a lot, innit? You spend 10 grand just to exist. Fucking hell.
Name me a job that you spend $10,000 to get paid. And by the way, let's not forget that for 1.5 years, I didn't get paid.
And I didn't get paid for years.
But when I got pushed out and I'm seeing...
But why is that normal also, by the way? I've seen that with, obviously, MacWop TV on the Apollo and stuff. What is with these people? Like, I don't understand, like, and again, this is me being naive, but if you're doing a podcast or any sort of content, you get the opportunity to kind of write your own ticket. You get the opportunity to kind of do, basically work around your own schedule, make your own schedule. You get the opportunity to make a lot of money. You get the opportunity to put on fun shows, connect with your fan base, and maybe also offer your friends the opportunity to work with you and earn some money too. And I always thought that it would be pretty swaggy and pretty cool to put your friends on salary or something, or put some money in their pocket. That's pretty cool. When you're able to do so, like, imagine what that must feel like, of being able to be like, hey man, thank you for helping me out. Here's some money. Like, that's a nice thing to do to somebody. And I don't know why these big podcasts, especially these big ones that make thousands per episode, can't break their friends off some money. Like, why is it normal to just not get paid for a couple of years while you're doing the show, and then wait until they get a big deal, then you get paid? It's like, no, why can't you pay me now while you got a small deal? Why can't you pay me a little bit now just for my time? Not pay for my Uber, not pay for my drinks or my weed like people do. No, actually give me some money so I can spend it on whatever I want to spend it on. If I want to go grocery shopping, I can do that. What is with these guys who make all this money on podcasts who don't want to, especially their friends who make the show, the friends who like help you in the back end, the friends who are on camera, who add to the entertainment of the show. Because a lot of these shows, I think, they thrive not because of just the main star. Because I think that's why I hated Joe Budden and why I can't watch Joe Budden podcasts anymore. Because when that breakup happened with Rory and Mal, it almost felt like it felt like a betrayal to the fans, because it seemed like Joe was making it seem like we were only there for him. And it's like, no, we weren't. We were there for the rest of the cast. And if anything, Rory and Mal made Joe likable, because Joe Budden for a long time was very unlikable. People didn't, warm to his personality. But the podcast made him human in a way, because you got to see him interact with his friends. So with these podcasts where it's like you and your friends hanging out on camera, and the entertaining part of the show is the dynamic between you and your friends, why can't these main hosts like Logan Paul, like Joe Budden, why can't they just like sort out their friends adequately and make them happy, because they add to the show? It's not just you. Yeah, we're there for Logan Paul, Impulsive. He's the main one, but we're also there to see how you. Because I also maintain, I might be in the minority here too, but I think early episodes of Impulsive were pretty good. The early episodes, I remember watching it. I thought they were quite entertaining, and it did make Logan Paul look better because we saw him in context, long form conversations. You got to understand him a bit more as a person. It kind of made him a bit human. It kind of made him, dare I say, likable. So not to help out your friends who are helping rehabilitate your image is fucking wild to me.
That I'm getting pushed out, and I start my own show. Do you know what my final straw was?
What?
I got my show going, and then not only was I controlled and pushed around on Impulsive, but then Logan's making calls and directing my show. And I'm saying, hey man.
Yeah, that's when you overstep the mark. Fair enough, you don't want to pay me on your show, cool. But then no way are you now going to tell me what to do on my own show. I understand that. But to be fair to Logan as well, you only do this sort of stuff to people who let you do it to them. So George Janko, it seems like for a long time, was allowing Logan to slap him on the ass. And then he finally grew up here, but you could also understand why Logan was doing that, because he felt like you could take the piss out of this guy because he took a piss out of him for so long.
You can't tell me what to do on my own show. That's not okay.
What's that about?
He told me that I couldn't take Celsius. This is a guy who's sending a screenshot of $11 million a week that he's making.
Also, that's a scummy bag thing. I've seen that a lot, to be honest. I've heard that a lot from people where they work with people. So imagine you're working with people as host on your show. You don't pay them adequately, but then you also in a group chat bragging about how much money you're making. That's a lack of tact, a lack of class that I've never seen in my... And that probably is a symptom of like new money, innit? Like, how are you so tasteless? You're not even paying your employees, your friends well. And then you have the gall to be bragging about the money you're making and screenshotting your Venmo and your Cash App and your PayPal and send like, ugh. Imagine how gross that is. You're bragging about the money you're making, but you're not paying your friends. Such weird behavior from people.
And on top of that, we never got any money from Prime, and we own that show. So technically, we should have gotten a percentage of that. I never asked for it like the way you did. I stayed the...
And I also don't like this thing of like making your friends ask you and then you give it to them. That's a defense of dickheads too. Because I heard DSP say that before about his ex-friends. I forgot their names. He said, oh, if they would have asked me for money, I would have given it. They didn't ask me for anything. It's like, bro, no one needs to ask you for money. If you're making a ton of money, break your friends off. They don't need to flat out say, hey, could you give me something for this? No, just break them off some money, you fucking piece of shit. Honestly, these people, man, it's like, I don't understand. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I really don't get it. Like, allegedly making 11 million a week. You can't even break off these guys like 500 grand. You can't give them 500. And I'm not even saying a mil. You can't give them 500K. Nah, you can't. You can't give me even a mil just to keep them nice and on your good side, no? Cool.
The fuck out of it. I didn't care because I'm grateful for what I'm making. I'm gonna go start my own business. But when I come over here, because I'm scared I'm gonna lose my job here, I go, Logan, I will take half the deal if you want to put it on the table for my show. He says, I won't pay you a dime You're here because of me.
Jesus.
And then I said, well, what do you want me to do for my bills, bro? I got no money. And he says, go have your rich dad pay for it.
Listen,
that's
Big up, big up, big up, big up, big up.
This is Spartan.
Yeah, big up, Adzi. It must be hard for this Mike guy, innit? And have you guys had this before? I don't think I've ever had it because, again, I don't really have a big circle of friends, but it must be hard, innit? When you're friends with somebody, when you're friends with someone who's a dickhead to another one of your friends, but they're good to you. That must be really awkward, innit? Because Mike has heard these stories before. Mike has heard these stories from several people of how much of a piece of shit Logan is. But Logan is really good to him. It must put you in a bit of predicament because you see it. You see the amount of people that come up to you and say, Logan did me dirty with this, with this, with this, with this. But he's been really good to you. Really good to you. To the point where he legitimately changed your life. What do? Do you turn a blind eye to all the negative stuff they say about Logan? Do you believe it and keep one? Because that's the thing I think happened to Rory and Moore. I know I keep going on about this, but it still breaks my heart that the Joe Budden podcast broke up. I think Rory and Moore, I think this is where Academics was really right. Academics was right in that Rory and Moore thought they were special. They didn't think Joe would fuck them. But Joe's got a history of fucking people. He's the king of self-destruction. But they thought they were immune. They thought they were above the fucking. They thought because they started, the Joe Budden podcast together, that Joe would never fuck them. But eventually he did. So I wonder if you're Mike, are you keeping one eye open on Logan in case he does that to you? Because he does that to, he fucks everybody. So are you thinking you could be next? Or do you think that Logan is one of those sickos as well, similar to Brendan in a way, where he's a dick to a lot of people, but he also keeps one or two people sweet to have his back? Because Brendan does that pretty well. He's a dick to most people, but he does random acts of kindness to stave off the hounds, and also keeps a few people sweet, just so they can be the counter to the narrative that he's a piece of shit.
Fighting words, bro. Look at me. That's fighting words, bro. You don't bring up somebody's father.
Would you say that the way that you handled it from a word standpoint was mature, acceptable?
That I beat the brakes off of him?
Correct.
If he was in front of me, I would have swung at him.
Yeah, but Logan would have broken your face, though. Let's be fair. I know, obviously as a man, you have to stand up for yourself. You can't let somebody talk to you that way. But Logan would have legitimately broken this guy's face. You know what I mean? He's like, 100 pounds bigger than him as well. It's like, yeah, it legitimately wouldn't be a fair fight. But I'm happy to see George doing well, though, by himself. I'm not going to lie. Especially considering that, he wasn't that famous before he got on Logan. And then he probably made his name there. And then he's somehow able to take that little bit of notoriety and make it into a proper flourishing channel. That says a lot, to be fair. So big up him. And also he wasn't associated with Logan as long as Mike was. Mike has a lot more association with Logan, has a lot more, skin in the game with him. So for George to have such a short time spending with Logan and still get that much out of it, I give him props, man. Well done to him. Well done to him for doing so. Really fucking well done to him. But Logan Paul sounds like a real piece of shit. Wow. He didn't give any of his friends a cut of Celsius, no cut of Prime, no money early on, was bragging about the money in group chats without paying them adequately. Imagine being on Logan Paul's team. No, imagine being a co-host on Logan Paul's podcast, but you can't pay your mortgage. Surely you'd think you'd be getting paid for that, innit? You're on a podcast with Logan Paul, a weekly one, but yet you can't pay your mortgage. Come on, man. Come on. Some people just also get taken advantage of, I think, as well. Some people just have like an advantage taking fetish or something as well, because I could never let someone play with me like that. Like, what? I'm on a podcast with Logan and I'm not getting paid at all. No mortgage payments, no? All right, cool, man. Cool. But yeah, big up George Janko. I'm glad he fucking sorted it out. Yo, big up Assad. Wagwan.
George built like the Mucinex monster.
Yeah. He kind of also looks like that. What's those things? Is that the same thing that you said? Is that Music Next Monster the same thing as this? I'm thinking of. You said what's the what? What's his name? Music Next Monster. Is that the same thing I'm thinking of? Yeah, he looks a bit like that, but he also looks a bit like this. What are those things? What are those? What's the monster in Super Mario? The little short ones with the overbite, with the underbite, whatever. Monster in Super Mario. Do you get what I mean? I think I might have played on Super Mario 64 back in the day. He kind of looks like that. This one, yeah, that Gomba, yeah. George Janko looks a bit like a Gomba, no? Does he look a little bit like that? Let's get the video. Let's get the fucking, no? Doesn't he look a little bit like one of these? A little bit. No? It's not a lot, but there's something there. There's definitely something there. There's definitely something there. And of course we got Assad's one as well, which is this one, right? Yeah. Maybe it's a mix. It's a mix between all those three. It's a mix. Oh yeah. Anyway, let's continue. Let's continue. Let's continue. Bruh. I'm not gonna lie. I rarely feel any hint of jealousy for anything. To be fair, life isn't really that serious, to be fair, and you know, just a weird emotion to have in general. But if I'm Brendan and Brian, I'm gonna feel a little bit of jealousy with this. Like, look at that. Look at it. Netflix Comedy Brunch 2024. Look at all the illustrious, high-level, part of the 1,000 top comedians in the world that are descended on this place. That have descended on this place. Fucking hell, man. And again, I'm not a jealousy type, but it's gotta hurt, innit, when you're not involved in this. It's better when you're a Rogan type and you don't want to be involved in this. It's probably better. But if you are involved in this, or if you do want to be involved and you're not, that's gotta fucking hurt. Look at everybody. Look at all the big. Oh, is that? Oh, look, they're kissing. What's her name called? I forgot his name. Koshi something. There's so many here to name. I can't really bother to name all of them, but they're all here. That's Kevin. Even Kevin Hart is there. Fucking hell, mate. No Brendan and Brian. No Chris D'Elia. Even Eric Griffin is there, isn't it? Let's see Eric Griffin. Yeah, even fucking Eric Griffin's there. Look. Even that fucking mashed potato ass, built body ass motherfucker is there. Eric Griffin. Look at him. Still looking miserable, by the way. Eric Griffin's probably up there complaining about where he's at. Oh, he got me in the back. You know, he's such a fucking miserable, moany cunt. He's probably up there complaining that he's too far back. He's probably complaining. He's probably incensed, annoyed that he's not further forward. Honestly, he's so miserable. But gosh, mate. And of course, Bert, the consummate attention seeker, has to be the one with his top off standing inside the pool. Of course, Bert Kreischer, the #1 fucking attention seeker, has to be there, standing in the pool with his top off. Of course he has to be. He's so annoying, isn't it? Like, he must even annoy other stand-up comedians, because to a certain extent, they're all attention seekers, right? They all want to be fucking the center of attention. They all want to be the main character. But Bert just takes it up a level. Like, he just takes it up a level. He must even annoy the most, you know, self-absorbed comedians that exist. Look at him. He had to take his t-shirt off, innit? He had to sit on the pool there. He had to. He just had to. Whitney Cummings is somewhere in the back there also. I see Dion Cole there as well. Jesus Christ, bro. It's like a who's who or what's what. The only time I've had a feeling of like feeling left out a bit was back in the day. There was this Nike Destroyer campaign. I'm not too sure if it still exists anymore. There was this Nike Destroyer thing, right? Nike Destroyer varsity jacket thing. And it was about focusing on like everyone in London that's doing great things. And I remember back in the day when I was on the scene, throwing parties and really moving and shaking in London, I felt I should be involved in this. I remember being so pissed when I wasn't involved, when we weren't involved in the advert. I forgot what, is there an advert for it? Let me see if I can find an advert for it. I remember being so annoyed because back then, of course, I was so obsessed with Nike. And they don't even have the advert anymore. Shit, okay, cool. Let's see, advert for London. There was like there we go. This is the one. Yeah, I wanted to be a part of this so badly back in the day, right? There's like Tiny Temper there. I don't know who the other guy is. There's a few people like all these kind of, you know, there's like club promoters, DJs, musicians and shit. And back then, I thought anyway, I was operating on the same level as these guys that were featured in this editorial or in this, you know, campaign. And I thought I would be in it. And I didn't even get a jacket, even though I was working at Nike as well. So I was just pissed. But looking back, I think that wanting to be accepted, that wanting to be involved in the industry, this is part of the issue with it. Sometimes you're going to get overlooked on things and you're going to take it personally when it isn't personal. It's probably just business. Maybe I wasn't really as big as I thought I was. Maybe I wasn't that popular really. And maybe I wasn't that well known. I still had a lot of work to do. But I think that's the beauty and the benefit of like Gen X, Gen Zs. Gen Z kids, I feel like, are different from millennials. They don't really care about being included in the industry. They don't really care about acceptance. They don't care about acknowledgement. If anything, a lot of Gen Z kids probably want to create their own version of Netflix. They probably think Netflix is too restrictive. Netflix only speaks from a certain point of view. Netflix doesn't align with their political beliefs, whatever it may be. They are more prone to create their own Nike, create their own Netflix and do their own thing and put their own friends on. Maybe they're like, oh, it's not even about me, it's about my friends. Why aren't my friends getting shout outs? And they'd rather put their own magazine together, put their own friends on, whatever, and do it that way. So I think that's the palm of being like an industry person, is that sometimes industry events like this happen and you don't get involved. And maybe it's not even to do with the cancellation. Maybe it's just, you know, they got the most popular people to do it and maybe Brendan and Brian aren't there anymore. But when you seek approval from the industry, seek approval from these higher ups, these gatekeepers, and when they don't include you, it can be such a devastating blow to the ego, because all of your pride, all of your self-worth is tied to them giving you permission to do the thing or giving you approval or acknowledging your existence, when that's not really important, especially nowadays. Nowadays, this sort of acknowledgement isn't important at all, because the most important thing is connecting with your fan base. The most important thing is being able to sustain yourself through your art, be able to pay your bills through the stuff that you love to do. But I'm sure the words I'm saying now are empty if you're a comedian and you live in LA and you see this in the morning. These words are empty because it's going to hurt you. It's going to fucking hurt you, because it almost feels like you don't count, like you don't matter because you're not here, you know, when it's not really true, because this is just like a small chunk. And also these are probably the most popular ones, right? I'm assuming somebody's job on Netflix is to put a Excel sheet together and list all the comedians on Netflix who have the most views and then just get them on here. I'm assuming that's what it is. I don't think it's to do with, you know, anything else other than that. But I don't know. It's got to hurt, man. It's got to fucking hurt. It has to hurt. It just has to. Obviously with Brendan, he's okay because he's kind of quit so he could protect himself that way. But when you're Brian Callen, it's got to hurt you. You got to feel it a bit. All right, let's just check Brian Callen's Instagram. What's Brian Callen been doing? Has he oh, look, no Instagram story over the weekend. He's definitely depressed, isn't it? Has he? No, yet. Oh, shit. Brian Callen hasn't uploaded a single Instagram story during the weekend. And for a professional touring comedian, that's a bit concerning. Where did he play? Did he play anywhere? Okay, he was performing at Appleton. He was performing at the Skyline Comedy Club. Let's see if they've got Instagram. Skyline Comedy Club Instagram. Let's see if they got one. Brian didn't upload a single fucking story the entire weekend, bro. He's been just sitting at home pissed. Let's see the Skyline Comedy. Oh, Jesus Christ, bro. When you see these type of flyers, you know it's a tough place. Fucking hell, this is tough. When you see these type of flyers, you know, ouch. This is not a place where all the big hitters go, innit? Ouch. This is not like, who are these people, man? Who the fuck are these? I recognize Josh Wolf, but who the fuck are the rest of them? Fucking hell. Like, who are these people? I recognize Josh Wolf. I recognize Ron Funches. By the way, what happened to Ron Funches? Has he moved? Does he not live in LA anymore? I thought he was everywhere on podcasts. He was the like token black guy on the pod. What happened to him? Did he fall out with somebody? Did he fuck someone over? I haven't seen him on pods in a while. Yeah, I don't know who these people. That's the guy from Kill Tony. I don't know who this guy is. Like, who are these people? Like, shit. Brian Callen there. We're still laughing this weekend. Jeez, look at that. We're still laughing this weekend. Hilarious Brian Callen. 4 likes, no comments on this post. Jesus Christ, bro. Being a stand-up comedian is so similar to being an up-and-coming DJ. I swear to God, it's brutal when no one knows you. Fucking hell. Brian Callen's ready to crack you up. You can have your tickets. 40, like... No one gives a shit. Literally no one gives a shit. Let's see if they got a tagged on the latest so I can see. Oh yeah, there he is. There's Brian Callen. There he is. There he is with the fans. While Netflix is a joke was happening, Brian Callen was out here with the fans. Fair play, man. He was out here with the fans, connecting, saying hi, chilling, milling, billing, yeah? Fucking hell. Hello, mate. Hello. Hello, brother. How you doing? You alright? You alright, brother? No comment, man. No comment. No fucking comment. No fucking comment. I swear to God. Fucking hell. It's a lot. It's a lot.
He caught me off guard and shit. That's my nigga though.
That dude chat.
Whoops. Anyways, that's that done. What else we got to do here? We did that. We did the whole Comedy Store thing. We did that. We did this. We did this. Oh yeah, let's do this. Have you seen this? Shannon Rich calls out Brendan Schaub. So this guy is some UFC fighter dude who's got a really bad record. I think he's one of those journeyman fighters, right? Typical UFC journeyman stuff. No big deal, really. For some reason, I really don't know why. So he's a bit of a meme, this guy, because he's lost a bunch of fights. He's probably lost more than he's won. Crazy record. But I don't know personally why Brendan seems to have like a not hard on, but why Brendan seems to like laugh at him so much. I understand it's funny that but why does Brendan go above to kind of like poke at him? Especially given his record, especially Brendan wasn't good either. So why does Brendan like to go out of his way to insult this guy? It's a bit strange. Anyway, Brendan keeps insulting him or, you know, kind of mocking him and shit. The guy didn't take it too well and he pressed Brendan in real life. He went up to him at a show and obviously Brendan cowered and, you know, did the whole like I'm joking thing and pretending like he didn't say anything bad. I think it's when Brendan went to watch a one championship fight or something. And I think Brendan's now said something else, and the guy's come back and basically said, hey, it's on site for Brendan if he wants, or let's fight. It's pretty interesting, to be fair, because it's another, and again, this guy doesn't speak for the whole of the UFC, but it's just interesting to see another fighter that doesn't like Brendan. If they're not doing media together, Brendan doesn't really have the best relationship with people, like fighters in the UFC or fighters that do MMA in general. It's very strange for someone as a former fighter that everyone seems to just not like him that much.
One thing I want to end with is it true you try to fight Brandon Schaub at a bar in Scottsdale?
So it wasn't a bar in Scottsdale. It was actually at his buddy's UFL, United Fight League.
I heard about that.
So let's go. Let's just talk
be honest
about
with
it.
us, yeah.
So this is what
we
happened.
heard whispers.
Here, this is what happened, and I'm gonna be straight out.
So they're all talking about Brendan behind his back. There's whispers of Brendan being confronted in public by this guy at this UFL event. Again, did someone say in the comments? Yeah, this is the reason why Brendan doesn't go. Who said that? Yes, big up Assad. This is definitely part of it. You'd imagine. Number one, the embarrassment of having people boo you in public, or especially UFC, Dana White being petty and chucking you out. That's obviously high in his mind. But also just the people that you might bump into that you've said shit about on your pod that you forgot, because I've long had the theory that Brendan legitimately has the brain of a dog, where like every day's a day, like he doesn't remember something happened yesterday. Everything's in the moment type of thing. And I think that's the way he kind of feels. So maybe he says stuff about people he's forgot, and then it comes back to him when he meets him in public, and he's like starstruck or startled about the whole thing.
Out with you. Brendan Schaub was on Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan said, hey, look at this record of Shannon Rich. And Brendan Schaub literally said, because I got the clip, yeah, it's the worst record I've ever seen, something like that. And if it's the worst record you ever seen, bro, you don't even know me. And you're running your mouth talking, whatever. So,
but it is a bad record though, Shannon Rich. Come on, be fair. I know Brendan's a bit of a cunt, but it is a bad record. Let's not, let's be fair as well. Your record is fucking crazy.
Anyway, I went up to him because I'd never met him before. I literally went up to him. I shook his hand and said, hi, I'm Shannon Rich. He goes, hey, how you doing? I said, why would you talk shit about me? You don't even know me, dude. And he goes, no, it wasn't you. I was talking about Shannon Briggs. I'm like, no, you said Shannon Rich. No, it was.
You see, that's why Brendan's a bully. Brendan's okay with punking and dunking on Steve Will Do It and threatening to break his neck and shit, and also by default, because don't be confused. Brendan threatening Steve Will Do It and also grappling with Brian Callen before the Fire and the Kid, and nearly breaking his legs a couple of times and his neck, is not just for them, it's for us as well. That's him sending a signal, sending a not so subtle hint to people like myself and maybe even others, even probably you guys in the stream chat, that if you continue talking shit, I'm gonna break your neck. So clearly he's on that time with the haters and the trolls. Cool, no problem, we get it. But when people that are in your same lane, or big time celebrities, especially people that have got some fame and clout, say shit about him, he cowers. He has nothing to say. But when it's content creators or people that he knows he can punk, he's obviously big boy talk. But when it comes to this guy, he confronts him. Again, I don't think Brendan was in the wrong for saying that he has a horrible record, because he does have an objectively horrible record. But then to not stand on what you say and say it with your chest and be like, yeah, I meant you, but your record is quite bad. He then says, oh no, it wasn't you, it was Shannon Briggs, a whole black guy. So you confuse Shannon Rich with Shannon Briggs. All right, cool.
Shannon Briggs. I said, okay, I'm gonna let it go. So I'm gonna let it go.
They don't even look the same.
Hey,
yeah. You guys don't look nothing alike.
So literally, I let it go, and then he went back on another podcast and was like, "Well, Shannon Rich said this to me, blah blah." Okay, Brendan, where you at? Hey, if you have a problem with me, we can settle it. I don't give a shit.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying.
Why?
But
you're not scared of nobody.
I don't give a shit.
He used to fight.
Yeah, he used to fight.
He's
but
a
he wasn't that good.
He
Look
was
at
a
his record.
heavyweight.
Look at his record. Look at mine.
Well, you got more losses than he got fights.
I got a lot.
That's a good point. You got more losses than he's got fights.
More wins than he's got fights too.
Hello, Yahtzee.
Hey,
you know?
hey.
Yo,
let's put that fight. Hey, let's put that fight together.
Yeah,
we
put
can
that
do it.
together.
Let's do it in guitar.
Do you think you would smash Brandon Schaub? Because he knows how to fight, though. Let's be honest. He was a heavyweight fighter in the UFC.
Okay.
Yeah.
And?
You give him that smoke.
Bro, I'm good, man.
He's a black
I
guy.
don't give a shit, man. I don't care, bro.
This.
I don't really have anything against Brendan. I saw his comedy. I don't think he's that funny.
Damn!
Oh shit! But
Rampage as well, laughing and joining along while also being a part of the Calabasas fight companion crew is a bit grimy. I'm not gonna lie. Brendan ain't gonna be happy about that.
That's his livelihood.
Okay,
bro,
I saw his comedy. He's not that funny.
Bro, you taking the gloves off.
He was funny. He was okay, but he wasn't that funny.
Did you laugh at his jokes at all?
All he talked about was gay stuff. It was all gay. It was all about being gay. I think he has a thing with gays or something.
That's so accurate. That's such an accurate synthesize. That's such an accurate way to synthesize and to describe Brendan's overall comedy, right? He gets on stage and has these weird mannerisms where he's kind of acting zesty, but he's not. And he also talks about dicks a lot. So you're like, hold on, is this guy struggling with his own sexuality, or is he just out there and this is part of his bit? Like, what's going on here? That's a great way to describe Brendan. All he does is talk about dicks. Exactly. He's got the humor of a fucking college kid. He's like a college kid stuck in the body of a 40-year-old man. It's like, what the fuck is going on here? All he does is talk about dicks.
Something. I don't have any problem with gay.
All he does is talk about dicks. But yeah, I would love to see Brendan fight this guy, just for the lols. But I also think it just, again, encapsulates just why people don't like Brendan, you know? He talks shit about people, but then when they confront him, especially people like this, he cowers and then ducks the smoke. And then he goes back on his podcast and chats more shit again. But then he says he's the greatest guy, he's the nicest guy, he never says anything bad about anybody. It's like, yeah, you do. You say a ton of bad things about people all the time. You know what I mean? You say a ton of bad things about people all the time, like we all do on the internet, because that's what the internet's for. It's about talking shit. But he likes to pretend like he's on some moral high ground, you know? That's the annoying part of the guy. Like, you're not on some moral high ground. You're in the muck with the rest of us, really and truly. You're here like everybody else. There's no moral high ground here. None whatsoever. But yeah. What do I know? What do I know? What do I know? Okie dokie. Let's move on from that one. We did that. Oh, let's also do this. This is a good summary, actually. Someone put together this summary of their beef. This kind of explains why they're beefing. Be up the person that put this together as well. This is the Rich and Schaub drama in full. This is give you an overview of why they're beefing in the first place. Or why he's beefing with him.
It's not Michael.
Wow, he fought Shannon Rich on his third fight. Shannon Rich has like 1 million fights. Click on Shannon Rich.
Look at Mike Guyman, the Joker. Old school, 2003.
Yeah. Click on Shannon Rich. How many fights does he have?
Oh, is that Brendan's voice? Brendan lost his voice. Oh, I remember this episode. So Joe Rogan says Shannon Rich has 1 million fights, and let's see what Brendan says. So Joe Rogan just says he has 1 million fights. What does Brendan say?
I'm gonna say he's got how many? Does it say?
Holy shit!
Does it say his record?
Losses. 53 and 79.
Jesus Christ!
It's the worst record I've ever seen.
That's crazy. That is.
He's laughing. You see. Rogan says he has a loads of fights. Rogan just keeps saying that's crazy. He's being respectful. And Brendan, a former fighter who's fought in the UFC, who's been knocked out a bunch of times as well in devastating fashion, is that people mock him. You'd think there'd be a little bit of like professional decorum, a little bit of respect between fighters. He's laughing at the guy's record. No wonder that Shannon Rich is angry. You know? No wonder.
Record I've ever seen.
That's crazy.
53 and 79.
Jesus Christ.
It's the worst record I've ever seen.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
That's fucking terrible. And then Shannon Rich sees him in real life, shakes his hand. I like that Shannon, big up Shannon Rich as well, by the way. I like that he got someone to record him. I like that he got someone to sit next to Brendan and record the whole confrontation. Big up, because Brendan would have definitely lied about the whole thing, but it's on video. He still would lie, but it's on video. Look at Brendan's face. He looks at those statues in Hawaii, innit? Those head statues. Like. Look at his face. with these girls' sunglasses on, trying to be fashionable. Oh my God, he did not want to fight. Look at Jay Shaw. Jay's worried. Look at Jay. Look at Jay Shaw in the background, people. Look at Jay. Look at Big Jay trying to pretend like he's not paying attention. Look at Jay. Look at Jay Shaw. He's nervous. He's so nervous.
You gotta check this out. I'm like, why didn't you talk shit about me? No, because Rampage supposed to fight Shannon Briggs.
Brendan is such a pussy. No, I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about Shannon Briggs. No, you were talking about me. But to be fair though, that clip is so old. I don't think Brendan remembers. Let's be fair. This clip is so old. Like, this is like a many years ago. Like, you know, this is many years ago. Brendan is like 50 pounds lighter. He's not drinking whiskey back then. He has that weird hairline thing going on. Like, he's loved by Rogan. He's having jokes with... This is when young Jamie used to like Brendan. This is a long time ago. I don't think he even remembers. I swear to God, I don't think he even remembers that he said it. Like I said before, I know Brendan lies a lot, but I think a lot of Brendan's lying is just because he's just so dumb and doesn't remember things that he said. So he just makes it up every day as he goes along. So, I don't know.
There's a guy named, so there's Shannon Briggs, who's the boxer, right?
Yeah.
Let's go, champ, Shannon Briggs. Then there's a guy named Shannon Rich, who's like old school MMA guy. Probably, I think he has the most fights in the history of MMA. And Shannon Rich somehow thought I was talking stuff about, not talking stuff, but was making fun of him. I don't know how it happened.
You were.
But he was talking, he goes, hey man, I thought we were.
You were talking shit
cool.
About right here.
Does it say?
Holy shit,
Does it say his record?
losses. 53 and 79.
Jesus Christ.
It's the worst record I've ever seen.
That's crazy.
That's talking shit, to be fair.
I don't know how it happened, but he was talking, he goes, hey man, I thought we were cool. A bunch of my guys sent me stuff, said you were talking stuff. I was like, and you know, to be fair, maybe I've heard him, but I'm not too familiar with his work. I know he has all the fights in the world, but I think the lines got crossed because I was talking about Shannon Briggs, not Shannon Rich.
Very similar.
Very
similar.
That was the only thing I could think of when he was talking about, and he's not a great guy, nice guy, had a lit ass outfit on too, but really nice guy. But he's like, yeah, man, it bothered me, man. They said you were, you know, knocking on me or roasting me. I was like, you sure it's not Shannon Briggs?
Shannon Briggs. I'm like, no, you said Shannon Rich. Oh, no, it was Shannon Briggs. I said, okay, I'm gonna let it go. So I'm gonna let it go.
They don't even look the same.
Hey,
Yeah. You guys don't look nothing alike.
So literally, I let it go, and then he went back on another podcast and was like, "Well, Shannon Rich said this to me, blah blah." Okay, Brendan, where you at? Hey, if you have a problem with me, we can settle it. I don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying?
Only Brendan could. How could you be Joe Rogan's friend, be a former UFC fighter, but then also not be liked by other fighters? Shouldn't they be all trying to suck your dick because they all want to get on Rogan? But they clearly don't like you that much. It's really odd, isn't it? If you're associated with Rogan and you're former, you should have such a better relationship with the fighters. They should like you, want to be around you, want to befriend you. But not Brendan. Everything's fucking different with that guy. Big up, big up, big up.
Big up us with the Sunday morning random show. Hackney was absolutely Ramo with baddies yesterday. You know how it is. Badunkadunks everywhere. Bean cheese, bean cheese, bean cheese, bean cheese, bean cheese, bean cheese, bean cheese.
I can imagine. I can only imagine what that canal was looking like. What Hackney was looking like. Just your head just doing that. Your head just doing this. Your head just doing this. Your head just doing this the whole entire time. I can fucking imagine. Just fucking boom, boom, boom. Look at that. Like, oh, I can only imagine. Big up Wingus McDingus, my G. Oh, I can only imagine. Just in the wind, flapping. You know what I mean? Head on the swivel, as Brendan would say. Exactly. Anyway, let's continue. We did that. We did this. What's it got to do? Let's do this one.
Exactly. I'm not IRL stream.
Let's do this one. So it's this one. Let's do this one. Let's switch over to this. Did we not watch this Patrick CC video? We didn't watch this, did we? The Friends of Joe Rogan. The Friends with Joe Rogan effect. I don't know if we did watch this before. Let me see. Did we not watch this? I don't think we did. Let's watch this anyway. Let's watch this together. I'm sure some of you have seen it already, but this is a pretty good one as well. The Friends of Joe Rogan by Patrick CC. This should be a good one to check out. The Friends with Joe Rogan effect by Patrick CC. So let's check this video. He's been doing a few comedy videos now. I think since he saw the reaction of his first one, I think it might have been a Burt one or something. He's been doing a few more. He's a proper big YouTuber that does really good documentaries and shit. So this should be good. Let's see what I'll go on with this one. Get this away. Yeah, let's go here.
Having friends in high places is a cheat code to becoming successful in any industry, but sometimes it feels like it's the only way to become successful in the entertainment industry. This has become more apparent in the stand-up comedy / podcast industry within the past few years. The Joe Rogan effect, or the Brogan effect, is essentially that any comedian who is friends with, or regularly featured on the Joe Rogan Experience, would have a significant advantage to becoming a wildly successful comedian or podcaster. Some of these comedians are hilarious, and others are clearly not cut from the same cloth. Even Cat Williams has been critical of the Rogan sphere.
That would be like me being on Joe Rogan. Joe don't want me on there. I need to be on Shannon. Joe got 6 comedians that never been funny. He want to push out.
Today we are going to analyze Joe Rogan's impact on the comedy industry and the comics who strategically aligned themselves with Rogan to advance their careers, starting with Brendan Schaub, who Joe convinced to become a comedian only to regret that decision a few years later. In December of 2014, Joe was sitting across the table from UFC heavyweight Brendan Schaub, who was just coming off his second loss in a row.
And I know it's weight, but HGH and steroids just changes the whole structure of your face, isn't it? Maybe the video is always warped, but even the shape of his head is different. It used to be more like slender and rectangular and long, and now it's just like bulbous. It's pretty wild how it does that, isn't it? It literally changes the skeletal structure of your fucking face.
The table from UFC heavyweight Brendan Schaub, who was just coming off his second loss in a row, this time by knockout. Joe spent 20 to 30 minutes dissecting Brendan's fighting skill and capability.
That Travis Brown fight was brutal as well, man. To get beat up like that by your ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend. Like, Brendan's had some epic losses in his life, innit? That's probably why he's so insistent on keeping a hold of T-Fat-K and not letting that baby die. Because everything else in his life has been such a unmitigating failure. Imagine your last fight in the UFC is you getting like laid out on your belly with your ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend on your back, punching you in the back of the head.
And then blatantly stated that he is
punching you in the back of your head and talking shit to you while he does it, by the way. The whole entire time, just talking shit to him.
Is not good enough to fight in the UFC.
The reality of your skill set, where you at now, I don't see you beating the elite guys. It's not that you don't try hard. It's not that you're not dedicated. It's not that you're not disciplined. It's not that you're not intelligent. There's shit that other people can do that you can't do.
Now, Joe was just trying to be honest. He was trying to be a good friend. Their other friend, Brian Callen, who is a stand-up comedian, chimed into the conversation to suggest Schaub had a comedy career in front of him.
What I care about is the fact that you have a future in other things and you're really good at. Like, you're really funny.
Dude, you know how many pictures that I've gotten sent to me that say, don't put me in a sauna, make me my way out?
No.
He say funny shit.
good.
Now, when you have two professional comedians telling you that you are funny, and you already host a successful sports/comedy show, it's obvious that pursuing a comedy career is better than continuing to get knocked out in the UFC. So Brendan officially retired from MMA and began podcasting full-time. Schaub has been featured on the Joe Rogan Experience 90 times, which is more than any other guest in history. His exposure to the massive JRE fanbase allowed him to bypass the 10-year grind through small clubs and dive bars that all comedians have to do to build their name in the industry. In less than 1 year, Brendan
But the funny thing is about Brendan
was doing solo stand.
The funny thing is about Brendan in this clip, which I didn't figure out. That list of comedians he put up there, right? He's the only one that didn't go through the 10-year thing on purpose. So he kind of fucked himself. He's got the most guest appearances, but everybody on this list did comedy the hard way, kind of, right? In terms of coming up and getting past at stores and stuff. So he's the only one on this list who refused to do open mics, refused to do like random spots in places. Only for the longest time, he only performed in front of his own audience. Didn't go and perform at random spots in places. Only did it at the Comedy Store, never anywhere else. This is proof that if he would have done it the regular way, he would be successful, because the rest of these guys are still doing stand-up. Eddie Bravo still does stand-up. Brian Callen still tours. Ari Shaffir still does stand-up. Joey Diaz still does stand-up. He's the only person in this list who doesn't do it anymore, and he's also the only person on this list who didn't do it the right way. No coincidence there.
Than any other guest in history. His exposure to the massive JRE fanbase allowed him to bypass the 10-year grind through small clubs and dive bars that all comedians have to do to build their name in the industry. In less than 1 year, Brendan was doing solo stand-up tours, and his shows were in front of fairly large crowds considering he had not proved himself as a funny comedian. He started another podcast called The King and the Sting alongside Theo Vaughn. By the end of 2018, Brendan owned and produced 3 very successful podcasts, was traveling around the country selling out comedy shows while being aligned with some of the biggest comics in the business. After just 2 years in, he then released his first stand-up special on Showtime called You'd Be Surprised. Now, releasing a special is a huge moment in a comedian's career.
He just did it too soon, man. He just did it all too soon. Looking back now, I still don't get what the rush was. What was the rush? He could have just taken his time. King and the Sting was going well. T-Fat K was going well. Big Brown Breakdown got signed on show. Like, he should have just taken his time. There was no need to rush. There was really no need. He could have done You'd Be Surprised. Like, if he would have done You'd Be Surprised 5 years after signing for Showtime, it would have still been terrible, but it would have given him 3 years on top, you know, to extend his career. There was no need to rush. Like, what was the rush, really? A stand-up career as well, part of why people do stand-up, I'm assuming, is because it's kind of a long career. You can kind of do it until you're like in your old age, really, right? It's not that physically demanding, really. So there's no need to really jump out the window and go crazy with it, because you're in it for the long haul, you would imagine.
As it stamps a permanent piece of their art that was carefully crafted over years of hard work. Most legendary comics waited 8 to 10 years.
Yeah, big up Jordan Ray, exactly. That's what he wanted. It's the money. Yeah, it's the money. He wanted the money up front. The money was just too good to turn down up front, which maybe he was right, because even though he did a bit of a speed run in comedy, he didn't take his time. He obviously went in there for the wrong reasons, but it did pay off. Let's be fair. Let's not lie. He speed run comedy, but it did work for him in his favor. You know, he's now able to live like a retired NFL football player when he's not really one, and, you know, have all these creature comforts, live in a big mansion, wife that doesn't work, kids are in private school, nice fancy cars. So he's got all the things that he wanted. It's just that unfortunately the career, he's got the material things, but maybe the career thing isn't where it should be, given his advantages and what he's been given.
Before they were good enough to release their first special. With an average rating of 1.4 out of 10 stars, it's safe to say that comedy fans decided that Brendan was not ready. And while
yeah, he was on recently, Dusky the Flow. Brendan was on recently. He was on the fight. They did a fight companion. He does fight companions sometimes. So when they do fight companions, Brendan's usually on there. The fight companions are with him, Joey Diaz, Eddie Bravo, and Brian Callen. But he doesn't really do solo episodes anymore. Solo are probably usually to promote a show or a special.
Well, I'm not going to sit here and pick apart his entire special. His first joke about getting a haircut definitely speaks volumes about what he thinks is a good punchline.
There you go, but don't sweat it, bro. We got Jamal here. He's very good. Just sit in the chair, he'll be right with you. So I sit in the chair, I'm thinking to myself, all right, clearly Jamal's a black dude. This dude comes out of the bathroom, he's all, what's up, man? I'm Jamal. He was Asian as shit. Feel way better about this if I needed help with math or something, you know? I was just like...
The joke is 2 minutes long, but the whole story was about how he got a bad haircut by an Asian barber named Jamal. He also made fun of an Asian doctor who was servicing his injury after his loss to Travis Brown.
This giant Asian doctor walks up to me and goes, Mr. Shab, I'm sorry for your loss. He takes out the biggest syringe you've ever seen in your life, like he's out of a goddamn comic book. Goes, Mr. Shab, after you numb your lip, you need many, many stitches. This be worst pain in your life, guaranteed. Worst pain in your life.
As if the joke wasn't bad enough, this is the actual voice of the doctor he was mimicking.
I take care of all the fighters as well as employees within the UFC family.
Even Rogan said
big up Dr. Greg Sue. He speaks better English than fucking Brendan. If you heard him on the phone, I mean, like...
Later, that Schaub special was a mistake.
The first one, I would have probably tried to talk you out of it, but I already talked you out of fighting.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't talk him out of this too.
Joe now admits that Brendan...
Oh, yeah, I remember this admission. That's a very good admission, by the way, which is funny. It explains a lot. I understand that. As a friend, you've already you gave him a bit of a bomb with the whole retire from UFC talk, especially on the podcast. That was a bit brutal, especially the way Joe did it. I think Joe knew he had to do it that harshly because Brendan doesn't listen, so he had to come across a little bit confrontational. But then to tell somebody, hey, don't do this special so soon. To be fair, he should have known. I think he didn't need Rogan to tell him. He should have known. He should have got a feeling that it was a bad decision. But he did it anyway, as Jordan Ray said, and a few people have said before. The money was just too good to turn down for him anyway. He was always in there for the money.
Was not funny enough to release a special, but continuously allows him to promote his comedy to the millions of JRE viewers. They both convinced the JRE community that Brendan's second comedy special, Gringo Papi, was going to be much better, and somehow Brendan outdid his last performance, going from 1.4 stars to 1.1 out of 10 stars. Rogan continued.
Oh, see, even the IMBD agrees with me. Remember when I said you'd be surprised it's actually a better special than Gringo Papi? And everyone in the stream chat was taking a piss out of me. Well, even the IMBD scores agree. Allegedly, You'd Be Surprised has 1.4 on IMDb, and Gringo Papi has a 1.1, and it's shorter.
Continuing to amplify Schaub just pissed off the fandom. This guy is my hero. Average fighter, average podcaster, terrible comedian, awful fight analysis. He's proven you don't have to be great at anything to be successful. Now, I'm not blaming...
To be fair, I think this is the American dream. The American dream is to achieve the most you can out of life while being mediocre. That's what I think technically the American dream is. Because if you synthesize or if you translate, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, that's basically what it is. It's looking at what others have. It's looking at the riches and the fucking glories and all the trappings of life and saying, I want that. And how can I get it? And then doing everything possible to go get it, even if you don't, quote unquote, deserve it. So that's basically the American dream. And he's achieved it. That's probably why he's so like content in a way, because it's like he knows deep down. He's an average fighter. He knows deep down he's an average podcaster, a terrible comedian, awful fight analyst. He knows that. But on paper, he doesn't look like it, right? Because he's got a successful, successful to some people's point of view career, a decent show, a podcast, a comedy career he just quit, a new endeavors like the car thing. So on paper, he's doing pretty well. But,
Fight analysis, he's proven you don't have to be great at anything to be successful. Now, I'm not blaming Joe for the mass hate.
Yeah, exactly, Darsky the Flow. Exactly, good point, Darsky the Flow. Brendan is good at appearing likable long enough for you to fool you. Exactly, yeah, he's very good at that. He gets you in. Like, if you don't know him and somebody shows you a video of him and you're laughing at what he does, some people be like, oh, you're being mean, he seems cool. You have to kind of watch him a few times, then you start to realize, oh, this guy is a bit of a douche. But he's not immediately in your face a piece of shit, which is probably advantageous.
Hatred towards Schaub. He definitely did that to himself. If anything, this just proves that Joe is a good friend, willing to continuously promote his buddy despite the obvious lack of comedic talent. Which begs the question that people have been asking for years. Does Joe Rogan understand comedy? Because there have been countless examples of jokes sliding right over his smooth, round head. But first, a quick word from today's sponsor, basketball.
Let me skip the ads quickly.
Or download Underdog via the App Store and use code PatrickCC. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code PatrickCC for a first deposit match worth up to $100. It makes watching the NBA even more interesting for me. So rep your team and make your own picks with Underdog.
Dolphins commit.
Sports betting is so big in the States, isn't it? Everybody's into sports betting. It must make so much money. And judging by his smile, they're probably paying him a lot of money for this ad, innit?
Interesting for me. So rep your team and make your own picks with Underdog.
Dolphins commit infanticide.
Sports betting is
they
like,
kill babies.
They do it on.
God damn it, bro. You guys are going to have a bit of an issue when it comes to gambling with these new kids coming up. All these Gen Z kids, younger millennials that are getting, hooked on betting already nowadays. They're going to have a big issue when they grow up. It's going to, those chickens are definitely going to come home to roost.
On purpose.
Yeah. Well, they killed their own.
Mulder was so smart and thoughtful. He wrote my 4 best movies. That's why he died. I made Tusk and Yoga Hosers. Like, without that dog writing for me.
How'd he write for you?
It's a joke, Joe. He was feral. He's just.
To be fair, I don't think Joe Rogan doesn't understand jokes. I think he treats his podcast like a serious platform. He made a shift. I don't know when it happened, but there was a shift happened where Joe Rogan wanted his podcast to be a place for serious discussion with jokes already, but he wants his comedians to go on there when he invites comedians on there, he wants them to present a different side of themselves that isn't just jokes. So I don't think it's not that he doesn't get jokes. I think he wants the show to be a serious interview show. That's what I think. I don't think he doesn't get. So I think when he does a show and he records, he's in the brain of like, let's have a serious conversation. He's not thinking about joking. That's what I think anyway. Again, maybe I'm being charitable. Maybe I'm being a Joe Rogan, apologist and shit. But I honestly think he just wants his show to be serious. So he's in that serious mood. And when someone makes a joke, he doesn't get it because he's thinking everything they're saying is, he's taking everything literally.
Just saying, he was so smart.
Bro.
He was so smart. How smart was he? He's so smart, he wrote my last few scripts. Joke didn't quite land. Sorry,
I was missing something. I
my
wasn't paying
bad.
attention.
Since Joe Rogan has been a comedian for 36 years and is the highest ranking comedy tastemaker, you would assume that no joke would ever have to be explained to him.
That all came from a pair of rich, noble. Where were they again? In France?
Wiggers, I think they called them.
No, Wiggers are white people that wish they were black. It's a totally different thing.
Yeah. We had the first one at our school growing.
Oh my God. Joe, he knows. He's making a joke about the wigs. It's a double entendre. Come on, Joe. Come on, Joe Rogan. Fucking hell. Let's go back to that again. He's proper serious.
Again, in France?
Wiggers, I think they called them.
No, Wiggers are white people that wish they were black. It's a totally different thing.
Yeah. We had the first one at our school growing up, and they put him in learning disabled classes. How crazy is that?
Ever?
Yeah.
You guys had the first one ever? I doubt it.
Joe being so quick to explain or take a comedian's words so literally is arguably more hilarious than if he just laughed. And to be fair, what makes Theo Von so funny is that you never really know if what he's saying is true or not.
But you could also not see your body if you want. Like, I'll go sometimes, I remember one time I went like 8 months without seeing my legs.
Theo's first appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience was in March of 2017. By then, he already had a Netflix special that came out 1 full year earlier. Now, getting a Netflix comedy special is huge today, and it definitely still was in 2016. But you have to consider Netflix had 75% less subscribers back then. so way less people had the potential to see it. It wasn't until Theo started making appearances on podcasts that he developed such a diehard fan base. So getting on Joe Rogan was arguably more important than Netflix. And it was on this very first appearance where Theo's ridiculousness and Joe's killing the joke dynamic was established.
Like if a plane crashed, I already know I'm planning ahead, dude. I'd eat a Vietnamese guy.
Why?
Because that's easy. It's a starter move. If you attack somebody bigger, if you eat somebody bigger in front of other people, it's going to alarm people.
You got to eat a small person, so stature is important.
I think if you gum down a Viet, people aren't going to be that upset at you.
Well, the
you know?
Vietnamese people are going to be super upset. What are you talking about?
No,
Somebody's
okay.
dad.
Yeah, they're more understanding of things, dude.
Joe begins to take Theo seriously and starts talking about why Theo's wrong here. But Theo is a master and is able to use Joe's own boring tangent as the punchline.
But what is interesting is like Vietnam is one of the few places where Americans can go back to Vietnam and they don't seem to hold any grudge at all.
Exhibit A. Exhibit A, man, honestly.
Theo told another story about being neighbors with and working out with David Duke, who was a KKK member elected as a Louisiana state representative. Instead of hearing Theo's insane story, Joe just began searching Wikipedia to learn about David instead.
He touted himself as a pro-life fiscal conservative, was known as an ex-Klan member. He eschewed overtly racist language and instead pointed to crime in the city, criticizing affirmative action and minority set-asides.
Yeah, I just did chest and tries with him, so I wasn't in all that. You know, we just did basic workout.
Title this, Joe interrupts another guest story to try and remember something that doesn't even contribute to the conversation. Despite this, Theo did make Joe laugh a lot. Some argue that the only time Joe ever belly laughs is because of Theo.
Oh, dude, I used to do, sometimes I would do so much cocaine, my freaking eyes would dry out.
Ooh,
and
look at you grinding. You're thinking about it. You go deep, huh?
Oh, dude.
But you're that dude. You go deep with whatever the fuck you're doing.
I like to get right on the. I like to be a peeping Tom if I can. I'll watch your whole family.
To be fair, Theo did well though. Theo did eventually grind Joe down and establish, you know, I think Joe realized, okay, cool, this guy, this is how he acts. This is how he likes to joke. And he got it in the end. It took him a while, but he did get it in the end. And now when Theo goes on Joe Rogan, it's pretty fun. But God almighty, the early episodes were brutal. The early episodes were brutal.
Dinner.
The demand for Theo Von content exploded. The JRE Clips channel would post animated versions of Theo and Joe's conversations that received millions of views, since Theo's recollection of small specific details made it so easy to paint a picture. Every time Theo would appear on JRE, he received a huge boost in subscribers, helping him grow his own This Past Weekend podcast. On his third Rogan appearance on July 6, 2018, he posted his podcast with Jordan Peterson the exact same day, which became his most viewed video on his channel for years. Despite the obvious advantage Theo had by being Joe's friend, he did not abuse it. He's only been a guest on the podcast 7 times in 8 years. Theo clearly wanted—
Wow, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that. 7 times in 8 years. But look how much successful he is than Brendan and the rest of them. So that goes to show. I've always felt this to be true, but I have a feeling that although Rogan acts like a badass and is like, oh, he has a good bullshit meter, I also think he kind of finds it hard to say no to his friends. And he probably thinks it's like it's a responsibility for the platform he's been given and the money he gets, because I'm sure he's one of those type of people that also isn't, I don't think Rogan believes that, I won't say deserving, but I don't think Rogan believes that he's where he's at just because of his own hard work and dedication. It's obviously because other people have also helped, right? Like they've also helped to make the show what it is. And I think he recognizes that, so he wants to give back by always having like an open door policy. But I think some of these motherfuckers have taken the piss out of that, which is probably why a lot of them aren't getting favorable attention now that he's in Austin. He kind of used that distance as an excuse to kind of like ice them out. Brendan and Brian being a good example of it. But I think if you went out of your way, but I think he also recognizes people who don't go out of their way to use him. He probably sees it. He's like, okay, thanks, thanks for being cool. And I think Theo's one of those people where he's been able to, for 7, these are 7 appearances over 8 years is pretty wild when you think about the level that Theo's at. That he's only got those appearances, but again shows that, he's grateful when he's on, makes the most of it, but he's doing his own thing anyway.
wanted to build a name for himself, start his own empire, and create an environment where people would understand him and his humor instead of Joe missing 50% of his jokes. And at this point, the awkward silence where Joe either ignores a joke or doesn't understand it, and then the comedian is trying to figure out how to pivot, is funnier than if the joke just actually landed.
Everyone has the right to be whatever the they are.
Oh, you think?
I think so.
What about Nazis?
They have the more of a right. A third right.
I don't think that's right. I think it's something. That's a different word. It's
Reich?
Yeah. What does that even mean? What is Third Reich?
I don't know.
I don't even literally don't. I mean, I know what the Third Reich is, but I don't even know what it means. Take a guess. I literally have no idea what that means.
You could argue that Joe's podcast is so multifaceted, covering a wide range of topics such as news, pop culture, UFC, cold plunging, alien conspiracies, DMT, chimpanzees, that it's difficult for him to immediately assess a joke when he is discussing something serious. Then again, why wouldn't you expect a comedian to crack jokes no matter what you're talking about? That's their job. Or maybe Joe is playing the straight man role, which is the partner in a comedy team who feeds lines to the other comedian who then makes witty replies. One person we can guarantee he is not playing this role to is Bryan Callen. Joe and Bryan have been friends for decades, and Bryan has co-hosted the podcast 85 times. You would think Joe would understand that Bryan pretending to be a tough guy is a funny gimmick since he is a small old man.
I got bullied for a full year, and it turned me into a fucking, if somebody tried to bully me, I'll show up at your house and kill you. That's what happens. I get so angry.
I'm not buying that.
I hate when he talks like that. I hate when...
Hey,
That's
bro,
not true.
You bully me.
If I
you try bullying me right now, mother.
Problem
Hold on, let me handle this.
Here's the problem. You've talked to too many guys that let you say shit like that, and then it becomes like vernacular.
And in case you're wondering, this is how you're supposed to riff with Bryan when he starts running his mouth.
I'm gonna tell you this right now.
Yeah.
Watch your tone.
Okay. What's gonna happen? What are you gonna do? Use some of that boxing you've been doing?
Don't you disrespect.
But since Joe has been a diehard UFC fan and employee since day one, he is not even remotely interested in joking about it.
Should they do something like that in UFC where different people that are more behind the scenes fight each other?
Oh yeah, these people, man. I forgot what their names were. Are they from A24? These guys annoyed Rogan so much. He could not handle that Adderall schizo energy. I forgot their names, but you could tell he was so uncomfortable. He was so uncomfortable. Oh, it was so funny. These guys were legendary. I think it was two of them as well. And they were like literally like talking like, you know, when when you're surrounded by cokeheads and after somewhere, this is that energy that they were giving, which was fine. It was cool, but Rogan couldn't handle it.
No.
So, you versus Bruce Buffer.
No.
Would you watch that?
No, you want to watch people fight that are actual fighters.
So when Bryan turns on this tough guy act, Joe is convinced he's being serious because he hangs around fighters and hits the gym occasionally. Then again, you could argue that Joe is just genuinely sick of fighters and hits the gym occasionally.
Brendan Lee fell over with that kick, innit? Jesus Christ. Like, the striker was never that good, innit? He nearly fell over.
Tough guy act. Joe is convinced he's being serious because he hangs around fighters and hits the gym occasionally. Then again, you could argue that Joe is just genuinely sick of Bryan and has been listening to his bullshit for years. Like on episode 2017 when Bryan was joking about Schaub returning to the UFC to fight Derek Lewis.
He was throwing Derek Lewis out there with no gloves.
Good Lord.
But wait, hold on. Just hear me out.
Do you want to die?
Sir, hear me out.
What?
I'm just talking about just shoot a blast double.
Shut the
Take
f-
the ground and then we got that.
The f- up. Shut the f- up.
And despite being on Rogan's podcast 85 times, Bryan Callen has yet to prove to the audience that he is funny. Callen has released 4 specials over the past 12 years, and none of them were purchased by a major streaming network. All of them were released for free online, and the most popular one...
Really? Wow, I did not know that. None of Bryan Callen's comedy specials were on... No way, that's not true. I'm sure one of them was on a streaming channel. Maybe it was like a Tubi or one of those platforms before it died. He's never had a comedy special on a streaming platform ever. Fuck, bro. No wonder he's so depressed about his career then. But this is also proof that he's been failing for a long time. Why is Brian now surprised that he's not been included? Like, you've never been included since 2012, even during the peak of T-Fat-K, which was probably around here, right? 2012 to 2019 was probably the peak of T-Fat-K, you'd say. It was probably ending around 2019, but definitely this 2012 to 2016 was definitely the peak. And he still couldn't get it signed to a major fucking network. And Brendan got a Showtime deal and you didn't. Come on, man. You have to know already that, you know, what level you're at.
Were purchased by a major streaming network. All of them were released for free online, and the most popular one has not even reached 1 million views. Callan's comedy is just okay. It's solid. It's decent, which some would argue is worse than being bad. Being so middle of the road that you can't say anything positive or negative. It just exists. Luckily, Brian has Joe so he can maintain his career and finances. Recently on the podcast, he tried to divert the conversation to get Joe to promote his newest business venture, Toehold, a luxury flip-flop brand that sells pairs for $1,000 and features really sick designs like Bad Motherfucker and We the People. Sick.
Hey, put your toes on.
Sick.
Take those off. Shut the f*** up.
They
Take
do
those
drugs
off.
off.
Listen to him.
Listen to him.
Come
So
on.
silly.
Well,
I
the
know
three
you
of
want
us-
to promote your goofy
I'm
flip.
not trying to, I'm not promoting him. I
Down.
just got
You
got
don't
him
even
for
call
you.
them toe holds.
Feel him under your.
That's probably why, again, Rogan was happy to get away from fucking LA and being Austin. Because these guys are fucking leeches, isn't it? Brett Rogan's had these guys on 85 episodes, like, and you're still forcing a promo down his throat. Be thankful he's your friend, motherfucker. If it hasn't happened now after 85 appearances, it's never going to happen for you. And then you're pushing those shitty, only for him to have to divest. And I think the divestment of him at Toehold was to do with the T-Fat-K subreddit. I think they were bringing so much negative. No, Brian was bringing so much negative attention to Toeholds. They were like, "Look, we don't want you involved, man. We'd rather you publicly declare that you're not invested anymore. Even if he still is invested in the company, just say you're not invested. Don't bring it up anymore because this is hurting our business. You guys are so toxic that it's hurting our image."
Put your toe holds off.
Feel him for you. Feel him under your feet. Come on.
You gotta love Brian panicking when he realizes that Joe making fun of his sandals is not gonna boost sales. But no worries, they put a quote of Joe on the website saying they are the best flip-flops he ever had. And this is not the first time a comedian came on the show to promote their product that Joe hated. Steve-O came on the pod with a bag full of stuff that he was selling, which Joe was not enthusiastic about, only to completely destroy Steve-O's newest business venture.
Hey, let me tell you about what I'm selling for cheddar.
You got a bag of stuff you're selling?
Steve-O's butt wipes for your butthole.
Well, that's where generally you'd use a butt wipe.
Yeah, flushable butt wipes.
You wouldn't use it
dude.
for your cheeks. They're flushable?
Right.
Not really. Let me tell you something about those flushable butt wipes. Don't flush them.
Oh, yeah?
No, they all clog. Talk to a plumber. Those things all clog up. They don't break down.
I think that's one thing Rogan has always I don't think he says it. I don't think he says it because he's probably, it's a bit rude to say, but he does make it very clear that he doesn't like promo like this. It's pretty obvious. He doesn't like it. He wants you to have a conversation. He wants you to come on his platform and talk about things and get to some real topics, have some ha-ha hee-hees. But he doesn't want you to pull out a bag and just start showing like he's fucking QVC. He doesn't like that whatsoever.
They get
shit.
stuck in pipes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I picked the wrong place to.
Google are butt wipes flushable? Flushable butt wipes. Are they flushable? They're not. They tell you don't flush them. You're flushing a rag.
Steve was like, fucking hell, man. Give me a break. Like, Steve was like, probably like, oh, fuck, all right, fair enough, Rogan.
Down the toilet. You're not even supposed to flush paper towels. Paper towels break down in your hand when you get them wet. Those things don't break down. Don't sell those.
Joe quite literally said the words, "Don't sell those." As Steve-O stuttered and tried to figure out what to say, Joe proceeded to spend the next 5 minutes proving his argument how flushable wipes will lead to catastrophic plumbing issues that will cost thousands of dollars to repair, and will harm the safety of the public water supply.
Jesus
Joe
Christ.
decimated the product, and Steve-O thought he was going to get a quick plug, which again is a testament of Joe's character. He might be your buddy, but he's not just going to blindly co-sign whatever product you're promoting. However, this is nothing compared compared to Shane Gillis, who straight up said to Joe's face he was using him for publicity. In 2019, Shane Gillis was a buzzing comedian recognized by the industry for being a rising star. He secured the coveted position as a writer for Saturday Night Live.
Big up Patrick CC. He's doing some good law dives. I'm not going to lie. He's pulling some good weeds here, because I remember this. Because there was a period where when Shane Gillis did get, this is funny, people don't remember this, but when Shane Gillis did get fired from SNL, Joe almost like refused to have him on. Ari Shaffir kept bringing him up. People kept bringing him up on the pod, but Joe didn't really bite for a long time. I don't really know why. It's still something that is puzzling to me, because there was a period in time where Joe was a lover of cancelled people. Every time somebody got cancelled for something, he'd always have them on and they'd be crying about free speech. But he really resisted getting Shane Gillis on for a long time. He kind of like ignored him, purposely didn't want to hear it. He'd shut it down whenever they brought up his name on the pod. It was really odd.
Having SNL on your resume is strong enough to build an entire career off of. However, Shane was fired just 5 days later, making it the shortest tenure in SNL history. He was fired for making a racist joke on his podcast where he used the CH slur to describe Chinese people in a joke. 2 years after he was fired, Shane went on Rogan's podcast to tell the story. Shane was detailing the events that led to his termination and tried to make a joke about the conversation he had with Lorne Michaels, the SNL producer who was about to fire him.
If I get fired here, whatever, I'll just go do Joe Rogan next week and I'll be fine. Anyway, I thought that was funny. No?
What?
I was like, I literally...
Is that what you thought?
I literally thought that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought it would be funny.
Well, it could have been funny.
Yeah.
I was booked up, though.
No, it's fine. It was just funny to...
Oh my God. You really thought that, huh? I was booked up though. Fucking hell, Rogan.
Truly, that was a conversation I actually had.
Really?
In Lorne Michaels' office in the middle of that.
That's hilarious.
I was in pure fucking panic.
Terror?
Yeah.
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 Not only is this awkward moment absolute gold, it also was the first time anyone had ever blatantly said to Joe's face they will use him to advance their career. Now, Shane was joking. The whole joke was that this was a stupid, arrogant thought. At the same time, was it? I mean, you could easily argue that a comedian cracking jokes on Joe Rogan's podcast will get you more career advancement than Saturday Night Live will. When JRE was exclusive to Spotify, it averaged 11 million viewers per episode. Now that it's available on YouTube, I'm sure those numbers have gone up. Not to mention all of the channels that clip his podcast and cross-post across all social medias. Saturday Night Live's season premieres in the past few years have averaged around 4 or 5 million, and that's just the first episode. When's the last time you saw an SNL sketch show up on your For You page? As far as creating an independent comedy career, doing stand-up shows around the country, and boosting your social media followers, Joe Rogan's podcast will help comedians far more than Saturday Night Live. Also, if Shane didn't go on Rogan's podcast to tell this story about him being fired, most people probably wouldn't even know about it.
I don't remember how brutal that was. Rogan was not impressed. And again, goes to show he definitely had something against... I don't know what it had against Shane, but he definitely didn't like him in the beginning. That's why he didn't get him on. Because if he would have liked him, he would have made the changes necessary to reschedule other people and fit him in. He didn't fit him in for a reason.
Less than 2 months after his first JRE episode, Shane recorded his first special and posted it for free on YouTube. This 1-hour set was simply his best jokes in front of a tiny crowd in Austin, Texas, far from the glamorous, high-produced theater performances you typically see. And this was easily the funniest comedy special to come out in the past few years. With 26 million views on YouTube and an average 8.4 out of 10 stars, comedy fans love Shane Gillis. And Rogan also loves Shane.
26 million. And fucking Brian Callen was bragging about his 765,000.
Gillis. Shane just has to hit him with simple premises like gay jokes for Joe to burst into tears.
Armpit hair doesn't bother me at all.
No.
Doesn't
on
bother
a lady?
me.
So
No.
wait, you like jacked ladies with armpit hair?
Yeah, a little bit of
You're
armpit
getting
hair.
close, dude. You're so close.
That's funny though.
That's as close as it gets.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I like a good buzz cut.
In fact, Joe thought Shane was so funny that they started a podcast within the JRE podcast called Protect Our Parks. Rogan, Gillis, Ari Shaffir, and Mark Norman have done a 3 to 4 hour podcast roughly once per month for the past 2 years. Within those 2 years, Netflix bought Shane's second special, Beautiful Dogs. With Netflix comedy being more relevant than ever, this was a huge opportunity for Shane. Since his first special was posted on his own YouTube page, you could argue that maybe he got some biased favoritism. However, Netflix would expose him to a much more broad, unbiased audience, and he seemingly won them over as well.
No, come on, Shane is not mid. Come on, people in the stream chat. Let's be fair. Shane is not mid. Come on now. I understand a lot of Joe. Like, the thing about comedy in general is that we get comedians forced down our throats, right? Rogan forces comedians down our throats, and whatever. But let's be fair. Shane's one of the best. He's really good. He's really, 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 really good. There's a lot of terrible ones out there, but Shane isn't one of them. Let's be fair.
Securing a 7.9 out of 10 star rating. Shane Gillis is definitely one of the funniest comedians to come out of the Rogan sphere. He is an example of a comedian who would have gotten to this level of fame and recognition regardless, but being friends with Joe Rogan helped speed up that process a little bit. But besides Shane Gillis and Theo Von, the JRE community is sick and tired of the rest of Joe's core group. Ari Shaffir, Bert Kreischer, and even Tom Segura are not celebrated like they used to be. In 2010, Joe invited Ari on the third ever episode of the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. Ari was in 9 of the first 100 episodes and has been a guest over 60 times, making him the 4th most frequent guest of all time. It's safe to say he is a day one JRE community member, yet he isn't exactly the most beloved. Ari is not necessarily disliked for his humor, as he is most definitely a seasoned comedian who will make you laugh, but on multiple occasions his jokes come off as mean-spirited and hateful. For example, 4 hours after the reports of the death of Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna, Ari posted a tweet celebrating his death, and then after catching a huge wave of criticism from this tweet, he shortly doubled down with a video.
As I know, there's always a lot of hate and pain in the world, and there's always a bunch of terrible stories, and every once in a while there's a good story. A good story comes out. The guy who got away with it got his today. Kobe Bryant is gone. I'm here in Charlotte, the home of the team that originally drafted him. Maybe he wouldn't have that chick in Denver if he had stayed in Charlotte with the Hornets. But anyway, the point is, dude, it's like...
Rogan tried to explain to his viewers that this is just a part of who Ari is.
No, I never want to say it's a good thing that he did that, but he needed to know that there are consequences for just saying ridiculous shit that you're not supposed to say when people die.
And like the good friend that Rogan is, he even went as far as taking partial responsibility for another grown man's actions to try and take some of the heat off Ari's back.
One part of me feels responsible. This is why. I convinced him that he could have an iPhone and that he could be okay. Just put a timer on it. I go, just put a timer on it. I go, my daughter has a timer on her phone. She can only use it for an hour a day. Just put a timer on your phone. And he should have stuck with a fucking flip phone, man.
Then again, Rogan simply laughed off Ari's behavior when he decided to spike Bert Kreischer's drink with Molly. One night, Bert invited his friend and fellow comedian Ari Shaffir over to his house to do a podcast. Ari shook Bert's 13...
Ari was fucking psycho for this, honestly. Ari was a legend and a psycho for this. Imagine going to your friend's house with his wife and kids and then spiking it. It's one thing if you it's one thing if, I know there's some psychos that do it. I don't know if you do it, but I know there's some psychos out there who invite people around their house while their kids are in there to get on it, right? Cool. That's one thing. Adults doing adult things. But if you behind someone's back, spike their drink without them knowing in the midst of their family, like
13 and 15-year-old daughter's hands, walked into the podcast room where they were going to share some drinks. Then Ari decided to secretly slip a capsule of MDMA, aka Molly, into Bert's drink without him knowing. Bert went into a full-blown panic, and it didn't make it any easier.
Big up Booth McGee. Booth McGee said, "It's okay to hate stand-up. I don't watch it." Is that normal? Do you guys in the stream chat, does everybody here just watch stand-up comedy podcast content but not watch stand-up? Is that a normal thing? because I watch stand up and I watch stand up comedy, so I thought everyone watched everything. That's part of it. But do some of you guys just watch the content and not the specials? Wow, I'm willing to bet that's it. So you think the majority of people that watch stand up comedy content just watch the podcast and not the stand ups? Fuck. Interesting. Wow. I just watched this in podcast cringe, Wingus McDingus. Wow. It depends. I never watch it. I just see this up. Fucking hell, that's insane. There's a whole group of people that don't even watch specials. They just watch the videos where they summarize the specials, and that's it. Yeah, a lot of fuck, man. No, that's a good. To be fair, that's a good thing because you're not missing out on much. A lot of these guys have terrible specials, so you're not missing anything. You're really not missing anything. They are so bad. I usually get disappointed because they're not as funny. Yeah, exactly, Tony. That's what I said, Tony. Exactly. It's actually it actually hurts you more when you find out someone that you like on a podcast isn't funny on stage. It actually hurts way more. So it's probably best just to kind of ignore that side of them and just focus on the stuff that you do like about them. Like Theo's a good example. Theo is terrible as a stand-up, I think personally. I don't think he's very, very average. But on podcasts, he is incredibly funny. So I'd rather just listen to him there. I'm not wasting my time sitting through hours and hours of stop to fight for one joke. Yeah, exactly. So to stop and fight one joke. Used to watch Pat Special, but not anyone. Yanis Papas and Joe List is good. You laughed more at Shob on T-Fat-K or Showtime. Yeah, oh, definitely on T-Fat-K, Max, 100%, 100%. 2 Bears, 1 Kind, never watched stand-up, no way. Okay, fair enough.
That he had to get on a flight early the next morning, but Joe Rogan thought the situation was hilarious.
Because he spiked Burke. He gave his friend Molly. That's not okay.
It's not okay.
But wait, that's hilarious though. It's still hilarious.
I don't believe your fake anger.
That's a real weird one.
There's no fake anger in this.
That's a weird one.
Here's what I did.
I was be on your side with this, Ari.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. End of story. Thank you.
No, he said he's
not on your side.
That's not what I heard.
No matter if you're right or wrong, you can always count on Joe to be there for you. The reason he defended Ari so hard is probably because he knows he needs to give Bert Kreischer a reality check, because Bert has let the Brogan fame spiral his life out of control. After Bert released his 2009 comedy special, Comfortably Dumb, he secured his own reality show on the Travel Channel called Bert the Conqueror. Despite the show being the biggest thing going for him, Joe Rogan and Bill Burr sat down with Bert to tell him some harsh truths. Bert said, "They sat me down and told me, your Travel Channel show sucks. You're funnier than that. You need to do specials. You need to do podcasts." Burr remembers the conversation vividly. He was down in the dumps trying to figure out what the next move was, and Joe Rogan and I were just starting podcasting. Joe is 100% the reason why Bert quit TV and began pursuing comedy and podcasting more seriously. But he did more than that. He invited Bert to be a regular on JRE from the very beginning. Bert has been a guest 37 times. In the beginning, the JRE community treated him like their funny fat friend who has some of the most ridiculous stories. He became wildly successful, securing multiple Netflix specials, his own reality TV show called The Cabin with Bert. The 2021/2022 Birdie Boy Tour was ranked number 4 in the top 10 highest grossing tours of the year, achieving a gross revenue of $23 million, selling 369,000 tickets over the course of 148 shows, and he even released his own feature film about his life that was in theaters. But the more successful he became, the more self-centered he became, once even referring to fans as pedestrians.
It's so funny, a comic's brain is so different than a pedestrian's brain.
But it just got worse. His alcohol addiction got out of control, his health was severely deteriorating, he became more obnoxious, constantly interrupting people, constantly wanting to be the center of attention. It got so bad where Joe just needed to humble him.
Both Tom and Christina are very nice people, and they'll be very...
I'm going to be devil's advocate.
Shut the f*** up for a second.
Or how about the time Bert tried to convince himself that Netflix photoshopped a different man's stomach on his body for the flyer of his Secret Time special?
Explain.
My belly has fallen over like everyone else's. When I did Secret Time, I didn't realize that it already happened until they did the billboard of it. and they did the billboard, and I go, that's not my stomach. My stomach's tight. And it was complete.
You have the craziest, most delusional perspective.
Realizing they're not going to budge, Bert tries to get Joe to compliment his shoulders.
Thought your belly was smaller than that.
I thought I was in great shape. And they put that up on Melrose, and I saw it. I drove past it, and I go, oh, they must have put someone else's belly on me or photoshopped it.
Yeah, like
and
this is like when you go like, I have legit the best shoulders.
I do. Hold on, I do. I have legit great shoulders. Like great fucking shoulders.
Yeah. No, you don't.
Joe, they're ripping through this shirt right now.
Yeah, but you say things and you don't really mean it, right? Like when you say things and you know they're not true.
Whether you think he deserves it or not, Joe Rogan has become the biggest comedy tastemaker in the world. I didn't even mention how he moved to Austin, Texas, opened his own comedy club, and created vast new opportunities for comics.
By the way, can I be honest for a second? Can I be honest? I didn't know this politician was disabled until this picture. I swear to God, I never realized this guy was in a wheelchair until this picture. I remember seeing this on Instagram. I was like, oh shit. I'd never realized he was in a wheelchair until I saw this picture on Instagram. And then I found out the whole story about him. I guess he fell from a tree, or the tree fell on him back in the day or something. I honestly didn't know that he was in a wheelchair before I saw this pic.
Moved to Austin, Texas, opened his own comedy club, and created vast new opportunities for comics to maintain their careers. Most comedians don't rely on Joe's podcast for their relevance, but going on there and cracking some jokes isn't all that different than the 90s version of doing a 5-minute set on late night television. The only difference is there's no live crowd, and all you gotta do is make one bald conspiracy theorist who barely understands when you are joking laugh a little bit. And yeah, sure, maybe Joe has given some of his buddies an unfair advantage. The good news is you don't have to listen to them, nor do you have to buy tickets to their stand-up or watch their specials. But one thing you can't say about Joe is that he's not a great friend.
I value loyalty a lot. And I remember there was a moment when I was sitting with Joe and he had a phone call with you. Joe was getting canceled for something. They didn't want him commentating the fights. And you on the phone offered your resignation over this. I got teary-eyed over that.
Joe Rogan has been very loyal to me, and I am very loyal to Joe Rogan.
I have to be honest, I don't have a problem. I don't have any issue with Rogan platforming his unfunny friends and giving them a career. I think anybody with money, anybody with influence should want to do that for their friends. You should want to be able to just put your friends on. If you can change your friends' lives, that's amazing. I think it's even more amazing, actually. Think about this way. I think it's actually more amazing to give your friends an ability, an avenue to make loads of money on themselves than for you to keep giving them handouts. I honestly think it's a really, really good thing to do. Hey, let me not forget giving you $5,000 to help pay your bills or whatever. I'm going to give you a way for you to make sure that you can make up $2,000 a month, whatever extra every fucking month. And every time you come on the show, it increases. That also gives you the energy and the encouragement to do more content, to do more things. It's actually pretty good. The only thing that I don't like is the convincing people your friends are funny. Give them a platform, let them show off their fucking skills, whatever, but don't try and gaslight us into thinking your friends are funny. That's why he fucked up with Brendan. He tried to pretend like he was funny and tried to tell us he was funny when he clearly wasn't. And then obviously when it all fell apart, he doesn't admit it or hold his hands up. It's like we just have to ignore it and keep and going as not. But the fans were calling out Rogan's or Brendan's inability to be funny from a while back, and he just didn't want to hear it. So that's the only thing that I don't like about it. But what can you do? Big up Rogan as well, best friend, and definitely this shows you this video that Rogan definitely got tired of Brendan and Brian, doing a lot with him, taking and not really giving or doing much himself. So he was happy. The Austin thing happened at the right time. He was probably already getting tired of those guys anyway. So fuck it, let me move somewhere else. So I think even if he didn't open the comedy club, he would have just moved there anyway, just for the sake of it, because it's just got, he couldn't handle all the shit that was going on there. So big up Rogan. And yeah, good friend, but sometimes the comedy thing's annoying. The Brendan story is a good bit, actually, in the beginning. The Brian Callen revelation that he's not had one special signed to any platform is fucking wild. Really, when you think about how long he's been around, when you think about how much he would love to get in the fucking sweet graces of fucking Netflix, it's wild. Anyway, my friends, I'm gonna love you and leave you. I might be back later on with another episode, but I just want to do a quick one now and kind of get through some topics I hadn't spoken about. But I've got a few things to go on from before. We're gonna do one final episode today. We're gonna do the end bit of the golden hour. We're gonna do some no jumper stuff. So I'll be back in a few hours. But for now, we're gonna call it quits. We're gonna end. And I'll be back in a few hours to give you some more streaming content. If you like what you see what you like, please make sure you like the stream down below. I've also got a new episode of the Patreon. So if you want to see part 3 of the Tom Brady comedy roast, it's available now on my Patreon. My Patreon's only £1. $1 to join. $1. The link is in the description. It's patreon.com/Agostino. Patreon.com/Agostino. You can find all the Taz and Random Show bonus episodes on there. As you can see, you can join for as little as $1, £1 per month, and you can get access to all of my Patreon stuff. There's a new episode out at the moment I put out yesterday, which is part 3 of the comedy roast, which is mostly to do with Tony Hinchcliffe. So if you haven't seen that, check that out. Part 4 is coming as well soon. Later on today actually, so definitely check that out as well. Link is in the description, so definitely make sure you check out the Patreon, patreon.com/Agostino, which is AGOSTINHO. Apart from that, links are in the description to check out my other stuff and or whatever else you want to check out, and I'll see you guys in a few hours. Thank you for tuning in. See you very soon. Peace out, my friends. Peace out, my friends.